2023 wasn't a good year for the Carolina Panthers, but I'm trying to make 2024 a better one for myself. Get started on your resolutions with Factor so you're ready for the new year. Factor's ready-to-eat meal delivery takes the stress out of meal planning and sets you up for success in the new year. Skip the grocery stores, prep work, and cooking fatigue. Instead, get chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals delivered right to your door. With over 35 meals to choose from per week, including keto options, calorie smart, vegan plus veggie, and more, plus over 55 weekly add-ons, you'll have a ton of nutritious and flavorful options to kickstart your resolutions. Skip that overpriced takeout trap. Factor is cheaper and way more delicious than takeout. Get chef-crafted, restaurant-quality meals delivered right to your door, and they're ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes, which means more time for you. Head to factormeals.com/C350 and use the promo code C350 to get 50% off. That's code C350 at factormeals.com/C350 to get 50% off.
Looking for a fun way to win up to 25 times your money this basketball season? Test your skills on Prize Picks, the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projected stats, and place your entry. You could turn $10 into $250. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit up to $100. Just visit prizepicks.com/fan and use code FAN. That's code FAN at prizepicks.com/fan. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
In a world where Carolina Panthers fans have an insatiable thirst for Panthers news and opinions, only one podcast roars ferociously. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast.
Yo, what's the deal, Panther fans? It's your boy, Tony Dunn, a.k.a. The Professor. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com, where every Tuesday night we chop up the latest Panthers news and opinion. It is the longest run-in Panthers podcast out there, so go ahead and subscribe to the show, be a part of it. Get in the chat room, call in at 252-228-5098. Tonight's show, Panthers short on Kawaan and long on finding a quarterback. The Panthers did their news dump on Tuesday. Things are back to normal, as CK reminded me. And we have parted ways with a veteran. The podcast expected this coming. The writers will tell you there's no story here, but we're going to report it. And guess what? We're going to talk about it. Also, rumors continue to swirl around a social media storm that occurred following a hot takes or bold prediction model from David Newton that continues to link the Carolina Panthers to Deshaun Watson. So we have some fun things to talk about. And I know Cody is chomping at the bit to talk quarterbacks, to see who the Carolina Panthers want. So go ahead, smash the thumbs up button, and welcome in to the podcast, Cody Lashney. How you doing, my friend?
Tony Dunn. It's Tuesday night, man, so you know I'm feeling good. We got some news that broke today around, the last vestiges of that 2015 season. Kawaan Short is out the door. There's officially no more players on the Carolina Panthers from that magic run that we had. So really, even though it kind of felt this way already, it really is the end of an era with Kawaan Short leaving the football team. Shout out to him. We wish him the best. But listen, Tony, you already know what the deal is. We do this every Tuesday night with the most lit Panther fans in all of YouTube. People like QT0, Brad Dugan, Joey the Black Panther Esquivel, Chuck from Elizabeth City. We see you, Trill One, QT0. Yeah, a lot of the same people. We got Mr. J the Six, Underground West, Tony Dunn. You already know what to do. Let's get it, bro.
We got CK in the house. What's up, my man?
Just living the dream, as it were. Finally having some news to talk about is obviously nice. But at the same time, I know it's kind of it sucks because it is, as you said, the last piece, or that we feel that we recall from the 2015 season. And so it is a bit bittersweet, but at the same time, it's nice to be able to start talking about things that aren't just, the past, and we can start moving on to the future. So it sucks. It's nice to have change, but it does suck to see him go. But we're ready to move on to bigger and better things.
There might be a couple of players, Cody. Is someone brought up Shaq?
Trey Boston, I think, was here
Trey
as well.
Boston, maybe we're closing out on the Dave Gettleman, Marty regime in some ways. The question is
that was the first year he was drafted. Shaq Thompson, that was his first year, right?
Yeah,
Because the next year it was Vernon Butler.
Yeah.
Will K1 Short be a Buffalo Bill or a Washington football teamer?
There's a lot of good options for him, man. I think it's going to depend on what team is willing to sign him and for how much. I kind of think of some of the teams that need him. I don't know. I think this is one of those players that seems like they can go in division.
Yeah.
Like maybe he could end up on the Saints or even the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, or if they don't sign the Ndamukong Suh. Who Ted Ginn did that, right? He was on the Panthers and then he went to New Orleans. I can kind of see that happen. I think everyone kind of hopes that it goes to Buffalo, just because a lot of the Panthers defensive players have a good go of things with Sean McDermott. They seem to have success in his system. So I don't know, man. Look, shout out to K1. He's been injured these past 2 years, and he hasn't really been able to do anything for us. So, I mean, this was in everybody's best interest. Now the Carolina Panthers are around $20 million in cap space, and we all know we have a player that we all want to sign, and that helps us to do that. And signing Taylor Moton, it gives us a lot of room to do a lot of different things. And he only had one more year left on his contract anyway, so it really just made sense from every direction. I don't know, but you're probably right. This is the Buffalo Bills or the Washington football team.
Yeah.
He was the 44th pick in the 2013 draft. He had 32 and a half sacks between 2013 and 2018. He was inactive twice in that period. It's been a different story since then, where he's had multiple shoulder injuries. And right when we needed him to be kind of the fixture and the leader of that defensive front is when injuries started to plague him. One of the things that I saw, and Jonathan Jones had tweeted this earlier, it says this, K1 Shorts. No, this isn't the tweet. He talked about this as how many pressures that he had. Like he led that, like he was in the top, 3 of defensive tackles in that 2013 to 2017 run, kind of before the injuries started setting in. He was a disruptor. He was the one that he was my love. Out of the two that we had is K1 Short and Star Latulele, both drafted that year. Mm-hmm. Star, the run stopper, not as sexy when it comes to the stat sheet. K1 Short and him together were a deadly combination, and ever since Star left, K1, we just couldn't pair him with anybody, and the injuries continued to be a problem. This is according to PFF, the Panthers releasing defensive tackle K1 Short, 91.6 career Pro Football Focus grade, 6 among interior defensive linemen. And this will not be the only cut. You can go ahead and expect Stephen Weatherly, Justin Burris, perhaps Michael Pilardi next as the Carolina Panthers continue to free up some cap space. The sad thing about the K1 Short deal is even though it frees up about $9 million in cap space, there is still some dead. I think there's some significant dead money still on the contract. So the Panthers, I'll look those numbers up as we continue to talk, but the Panthers continue to be one of the world's best at paying people to not play football. And hopefully some of that money is going to come off the books this year for guys like Luke Kuechly and Matt Khalil, the one that really sticks in my craw.
Yeah, we just stopped paying for Matt Khalil.
What
Hey,
a
dude,
bum.
that's that Marty Herney magic, man. When everybody was defending him, this was the GM over, well, maybe not Matt Khalil because that was Dave Gettleman, but there have been
Yeah,
a
that
lot of
was.
contracts signed by Marty Herney that have put us in salary cap hell, man. So hopefully our new GM can learn from the sins of our former general managers.
I wanted to. Did you guys see this headline that Cam Newton wants to stop spending money on clothes? He wants to. What's that song?
He wanted to stop spending. He wanted to stop spending millions of dollars on outfits that he'll only wear once.
What's that song? Popping tags, popping collars, got 20 on it. And it's all about the guy going to basically the Goodwill and getting an outfit for the night. That is what Cam Newton says he's striving to do now. He's comfortable enough with his style. I saw even an image of him making his own hats now. Like he's making the hats. Like he got tired of paying that guy to make his hat. So now that's his new hobby, hat making.
I mean, if you're Cam Newton and you're 32 years old, I mean, dude, I figured that's the next step for Cam, no matter what, man. I mean, if you're 30-something years old, even if you intend to play, another number of years, everyone has to be kind of looking at life after football. And I just always assumed Cam Newton would continue to do stuff in fashion, and that's what he's doing, man. Best of luck to him. Look, it's
he's
a bigger
becoming a milliner. The term is a milliner if you make hats.
What the fuck is a milliner?
A hat maker.
Oh, that's what they're called?
Like a cobbler is a shoemaker.
Oh, for shoes, and a milliner. Oh,
okay.
A
milliner. And the difference between a haberdasher and a milliner is that haberdasher is a person who sells small articles for sewing. A milliner is a manufacturer and designer of hats, aka Cam Newton. Some people are saying that money's getting tight now. Rumors where discussion continues to surround him if where he will land going forward. But speaking of quarterbacks, it sounds like, and if you saw from the title of the show, it's a stock analogy, stock metaphor. We're short on a stock. So we're doing what Wall Street thinks we should do to GameStop, right? We're shorting K1 short. We're shorting K1 and we're long on the quarterback hunt. The Panthers have made it clear that the quarterback is the priority. We talked about it last week, the interest in a guy like Matthew Stafford. Now, I've heard some talks about, not for the Carolina Panthers, but Marcus Mariota as an opportunity or potential quarterback. And then when you start to look at his contract, you're like, nope, you don't want nothing to do with no Marcus Mariota contract. And just like K1 Short, a lot. I heard this. Somebody was saying, I'm sorry, I'm changing gears all over the place. I saw what someone talking about. They tweeted me. It was a funny tweet, and it said something to the effect of, and while the Panthers release K1 Short, David Newton puts the finishing touches on his article on how to trade K1 Short. The idea behind that is that a lot of people had. I saw the guy Cat Crave, and this is not. I'm not trying to knock on these guys. I mean, they're trying to find things to write about and talk about at this time. But you can't trade an aging guy who has injuries and is getting paid a ton. Right? That's the problem. The contract is the problem. The player's not the problem. All of a sudden, the K1 Short becomes an intriguing free agent signing on a team that has some firepower already, that's looking to give some rotation, get some leaders, some veteran experience. I saw someone talking about the Kansas City Chiefs potentially being a landing spot for
camera Tony.
Yeah, my camera froze.
Oh, there you are.
Hopefully I'm back. But Kansas City Chiefs being a potential landing spot for a guy like K1. And you got to know this is that he's made his money already. right? Kawaan signed the big deal. He's done what all football players hope to do. Right now, he's trying to sign a 1-year deal if he thinks he's got more gas in the tank and hopefully leverage that into like a 2 or 3 year deal after that. Or he's going to sign a 2 to 3 year, very team friendly, like 2 years,
chasing the championship.
$8 million. Yeah. And so the Chiefs are an opportunity there. And I do think you brought up a good team with the Saints, Cody, because I think I've heard some issues with, or not issues, but that Rankins isn't going to be part of their defensive front going forward. So Kawaan Short, no longer Carolina Panther. Thank you for your service. And I'm I was a big fan of Kawaan, but now the discussion turns to the quarterback. And today, a little social media misinformation firestorm started as people started catching David Newton discussing, I guess he put out an article that said it was like bold takes. He was like in one of those division articles where they get the guy from the NFC East, everybody. And it's like, what's your bold prediction? And David Newton's was that the Panthers trade two or three firsts and Christian McCaffrey for Deshaun Watson. But then people started trying to pick it up like it was an offer that was already made. So again, we circle back to David Newton at the heart of misreporting. And this was not really on him. This is on social media just running amok, but continued murmurs of Deshaun Watson. Are we out of the running? Because I've been listening to Texan podcasts, bro, and a lot of them are talking a straight up switch almost for Russell Wilson.
I don't think he's moving.
I just want to say this. How dare anyone believe anything connected to David Newton? Like, as soon as I saw David Newton, I was like, did we lose Tony outside?
I guess. There he is.
I'm trying to keep going. I'm just trying to get my.
All right, man. I didn't know what was happening, man. You took me by surprise. No, shame on anyone for thinking that David Newton was connected to anything newsworthy, right? It doesn't matter that he was taken out of context. Anytime I see anything from David Newton, my mind just pushes it to the back and keeps it moving.
I'm just going to be honest with you. He is not the one that's going to be breaking that type of news. We'll just put it out there. Yeah. Like, he is not going to be the person telling us that first. And so if he was the name attached to it.
What kind of inside information do you all think David Newton has to fucking begin with? Like, he doesn't have anything. That guy, dude, I was reading his article this morning. Dude, it's not even written well. Like, nothing that he writes is even good.
Yeah.
It's just, it's so stupid. But, I mean, it's really kind of a non-story because, I don't think that we're going to be of interest to the Texans. If the Texans are going to have to trade Deshaun Watson, I think there's a number of other teams that offer them better return value in a trade and a better pick as well.
Yep.
And also, think of all the quarterbacks that if they were to trade, they could try and get, right? They could either get Sam Darnold, Tua Tagovailoa, maybe like I don't know who's ahead of us, Carson Wentz, like whatever. You would pick all of those dudes before you pick Teddy Bridgewater, and then a lot of it was saying, trading our best player, Christian McCaffrey, for Deshaun Watson, and that is the dumbest shit in the world, bro. And we've had this conversation in regards to paying Christian. Like, a running back doesn't even account for a fifth of the value of a franchise quarterback, and they're not getting that in return from us in Bridgewater or McCaffrey. So I don't know, man. To me, listen, I'm wearing my Clemson shirt right now. I'm a diehard Deshaun Watson fan. Clemson is on the map like it is today because of the groundwork that Deshaun built. I would love nothing more than for Deshaun to be a Panther, but that just doesn't seem like that's even reasonable at this point.
They're talking about, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, but they're talking about, like, we're holding our ground. He is going to be a Texan, and if he doesn't, we're going to fine him. We're going to go after a signing bonus. We're going to do all of this. The Texans seem to be pretty firm on the fact that they're not letting him go. But that does beg the question: if it was a straight up trade, no picks, nothing else for Wilson and Watson, did the Seahawks not win that?
Oh no, they totally would, and they would, and it wouldn't just be totally straight up. And the question is, where would the picks come from? But I was listening to the Texans podcast, and or one of these Texans podcasts, and what they were suggesting is Deshaun Watson is upset, is unhappy. He's a great player, and yes, he is the younger, potent. He's the young version of the unicorn every team is looking for. But Russell Wilson, who is kind of like what they described as a fine wine, getting better with age. And I don't know if that, but Russell Wilson went on this publicity tour and really at the Super Bowl made a comment that said he was tired of getting hit. Now, he was watching Patrick Mahomes get just mollywomped the whole time, right? And they were sitting right beside Roger Goodell. But Russell Wilson called out his own organization for the lack of, I guess, focus maybe on that part. But as you watch, I heard Dan Patrick talking about this, as you watch a team, like you look at Tom Brady go to another organization, court players to come play with him. Russell Wilson kind of has that not only the ability, but potentially the power to attract guys to an organization. The other thing that they were also mentioning is that the Texans are trying to rebuild this culture, and somehow it's around conservative Christianity, maybe like to their owner. And they were like, hey, look, if you're going to go to a place, we got Russell over here, the evangelical, he would be a good fit.
He's like the chosen one, dude. His whole life is anointed by God.
Oh, well, I tell you one thing. For a long time it was, and it's probably still is that if you see is he married to Sierra or something like that?
Sierra, yeah.
But there was a long time where I viewed Russell Wilson like I saw Patrick Mahomes playing the Super Bowl, and that is throw up a prayer like it's like, nope, that's getting picked. And it would be like a touchdown. I mean, I always said that Jesus smiled on Russell Wilson when he threw up those prayers, but I was thinking, what is there going to be movement in Seattle, and how is that fit with the Texans? I feel like Deshaun Watson continues to be out of our range, right? And if he isn't out of our range, then it is going to take a fortune to get him. And a lot of people are saying it's worth it. I was listening to Move the Sticks or Bucky Brooks, Daniel Jeremiah.
Yeah.
And this was right after the Super Bowl, Cody, and they might as well have been listening to the C3 Panthers podcast because they were just echoing you. It all starts with the quarterback, and it's all worth it, they basically said. Like, whatever it's cost, it's ultimately worth it. Now, is Deshaun Watson the guy? Just, we continue to get the name, but I think that's just us wanting us to be associated with Deshaun Watson. Yep. Potentially.
Well, but it's also Deshaun Watson last year on a dumpster fire Texans football team put up numbers that were comparable to Cam Newton's MVP season. I mean, if you don't believe me, look it up. He had the most throwing yards in the NFL last season, 33 touchdowns, under 10 interceptions. Like, Deshaun Watson is a next level baller. And we've had this discussion on the podcast before. I think if Deshaun Watson goes to the Kansas City Chiefs, I think he's every bit as successful as Patrick Mahomes is right now. And I firmly believe that. I stand by that. So, I do echo the same sentiment as Bucky Brooks and Daniel Jeremiah, man. Like, dude, I keep seeing, a first round this year, a first round next year, maybe one after that. But, dude, I'm telling you, that time goes by so fast, man. So fast.
Yeah, and Watson's so young, right? Again, I've said on this show that I would feel more comfortable trading that farm away for Deshaun Watson than I would for a pick that could be. Right? Is like, yeah, man, and I'm gonna believe you on all your evaluations about what the ceiling is. But until those guys actually do it, it's still just potential.
Yeah.
Watson is, and he's young. That's the thing, is 25, 26 years old. He's hitting his prime right now. And you think about this, is K1 Short's getting released, and he's an old man now, 32 or something like that.
He's only so Deshaun's only 1 year, 1 or 2 years older than Joe Burrow, and that in 3 more years he'll only be 27 years old. Like, dude, that's the prospect of having Deshaun for the next 10 or 15 years would be worth it. But I think what we have to ask right now is what's more reasonable for us. And we're going to talk about the quarterbacks in a little bit. I put out a poll, which, by the way, you can still vote on. I just retweeted it. Over 400 people have voted in this poll. So we're going to talk about the quarterbacks. But what is more likely, that the Panthers are going to go all in and try and put all the cards on the table for Deshaun Watson? Or are they going to try and procure some kind of trade up the draft even before draft night, similar to how the Philadelphia Eagles and at the time St. Louis Rams did when they moved up for Jared Goff and Carson Wentz? Which one's more likely for us?
So that's my question. Are you talking about which one's more likely for us to try to accomplish, or which one's more likely for us to succeed in doing?
Well, I mean, from a general manager perspective, from a David Tepper perspective, just from the front office, like what's more worth it to do right now?
Option one is Watson. I think with no hesitation. I mean, if they didn't want to go after, if they wanted to go after a rookie, right? If that was the goal, they wouldn't have made the offer for Stafford, right? I think that they're all in on a veteran that they know is going to lead them. And the reality is, the only quarterback that for sure is, and we've seen this on, everybody talking about this, the only one that for sure is NFL 100% starter ready to take a team to the next level is Trevor Lawrence. The other ones are capable of it, and they very well can prove to do that. But the only one that anybody has had any confidence in doing that is Trevor Lawrence, and we're out of the equation for that. That's not even going to happen. So I think what would be priority would be for them to trade the farm and get Watson. What's likely to happen is us to trade the farm and get the number 3 pick from Miami and then do something different.
We got to work through the draft. The answer to the quarterback position is in the draft, and not because of the players, but because of the contracts on the Carolina Panthers right now. Is that ultimately there is no going and getting a quarterback that has money, a big time deal like a Watson or this and that, without the financial penalty that comes along with Teddy Bridgewater. And Teddy Bridgewater will be making $20 million whether he's on the team or not next year. So we are primed and we are ready to take a rookie quarterback on a rookie deal and not have to rush him from day one, but also not have to say, oh, we're going to hide him behind Teddy Bridgewater. Yeah. But the opportunity to put him in a confident a spot where you can succeed. Maybe the offensive line's getting a little bit better after a couple of games. Maybe you see a team that you feel like he would match up well against whoever this rookie guy is. The answer is not a veteran guy, because we've swung at the veteran guy like Teddy Bridgewater swinging at a baseball.
Embarrassing. Yeah. But I mean, okay, let me pose this to you. Is it,
or there's no quarterback, or there's, and the other end, there is one other alternative. Maybe there's 2 alternatives. Maybe you continue to try to pluck a quarterback in the 2nd or 3rd round that you hope in a year or two could be a guy that you got to steal, kind of Russell Wilson-esque type moment. Or you say this is that, hey, look, we got to pay Teddy. Let's just run this back. Let's get some offensive linemen. Let's we're going to be 5-11 anyway. And then we'll get our quarterback next year. Those are the options. Rookie quarterback now, a dumpster dive quarterback in the mid rounds or a postponement in team building because you don't have the guy right now?
I mean, I find it problematic that everyone knows how thirsty we are to move up.
Yeah, I agree.
Everyone knows that we were going to be all in on Matthew Stafford. Now whoever we call to make a deal, they know that we're desperate. So they're going to be like, well, what else can you throw in to sweeten this deal? Because listen, David Tepper wants to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
David Tepper did not spend $2.5 billion on an NFL team to come and be a mediocre franchise. Like, David Tepper is trying to build the Pittsburgh Steelers of the Southeast in black and blue instead of black and yellow. And I think now, which again, I still blame him for not taking care of this properly when he had the chance to. But he knows now that you have to have a franchise quarterback, and he had to find that out the hard way. And now it's apparently obvious, or blatantly obvious, to us, to everyone in the media, and to David Tepper and our coaches themselves, that if we don't have a franchise quarterback on this football team, we're dead on arrival. Fans don't believe in the team, and it's even hard, I would imagine, to get players to be able to build into this. Imagine you're DJ Moore coming back for another year, knowing this is your last opportunity to make a big-ass contract in the NFL, your first kick of the can, and you know that you have Teddy Bridgewater for another year. It's like, damn, dude, that has to be crushing.
I know we all have different opinions about Curtis Samuel, but like, what would be more likely? If you had a Deshaun Watson, what is more likely for Curtis Samuel to want to sign a more team-friendly deal? Is it that he's going to be playing for a guy like Deshaun Watson or a guy who's like Teddy Bridgewater? I mean, like, if you look at it from even that perspective, the guys that we want to stay here, it's going to be hard for them to want to stay here.
Yeah.
I mean,
the only team-friendly deal people are going to want to sign with Teddy Bridgewater around is going to count on Teddy Bridgewater coughing up some of his coin.
Yeah.
He's going to have to cough up the minivan and the parking space. Lynn says this, and I think this overlaps with your point nicely, Cody, is I think Tepper is impatient and expecting big improvements despite of what he said about taking his time. And I think one thing is that Tepper's patience has run out.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And it's like, hey, I tried to stick with Braun. I tried to stick with Marty. You guys told me that we're going to build this thing slowly. And then I looked at the C3 podcast and they were right all along saying Teddy Bridgewater was a bum and this wasn't going to work. Right. Well, I mean, it's like almost not even an impatience. It is an impatience, but it's just a lack of time now.
Let me ask you, what is the quickest way to change a billionaire's mind? Cost him money.
Yep.
And when you are an owner of a franchise that hasn't had a winning season since you took over, you're basically right there. You're gonna lose sales. I mean, we're already in the midst of a bad a down revenue year because of the coronavirus. I mean, you add everything else into that. I mean, listen, if I'm David Tepper, I don't care what I said or how patient I want to be. I mean, when that happens, and then you see the quarterback turnover that's going to happen. I mean, this is the most turnover you're going to see in the NFL, I think, in a long time, at least from a quarterback standpoint. And so if we're not in on it, we could be setting, again, like, Cody says, we could be setting our franchise back 10 years.
I just don't see how a free agent signing helps move the needle in the slightest, right? Is that, if anything, I feel like a free agent signing, and I think this was the argument that you guys made against Stafford, or we all kind of made against Stafford, is not whether or not, if we want to argue whether Stafford is a better quarterback than Jared Goff or if Stafford's a better quarterback than Teddy Bridgewater, then that's an easy discussion to have.
Yeah.
Right. But is that quarterback got the window for you to win and make your team better at a price that is reasonable for what you got right now? And that's when I look around the league, The only thing I could see is then the only way we're going to find a quarterback that's not in the draft at this moment is going to be a guy who's been discarded, who has been forgotten, who needs a second chance. And then you get him kind of like a Ryan Tannehill type project to where you get a year of discount, maybe even 2 years of discount, and then they're going to be trying to either leave or get paid. That's why I'm going back to this, guys, is it's either now or it's just like get ready, fasten your seatbelt, folks. This is going to be another year or two before we even start to see the plan come together. That's the thing, is once you get the quarterback, doesn't mean all of a sudden you're going to go out and win 10 games, but at least you can start building the plan.
It's so, David Tepper, I feel like he wants what he can't have because he wants to win right now. And the easiest road for him and this football team to be able to do that is Deshaun Watson. I agree with you. Like, there are very few free agent quarterback prospects out there that really do it for me. Like, there's really only 2 names that I'd be happy with the Panthers signing, and that's Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson. I really don't think we have a good shot at either of them. Yeah. But the reason why I know David Tepper probably does prefer an established quarterback over a draft quarterback is because the point that you all just made. Imagine, Curtis Samuel, wanting to stay here and taking a pay cut to come and have Deshaun play with them. Hey, then imagine you're another free agent receiver out there. I'll just pull out a name, Chris Godwin, right? Now all of a sudden you won a Super Bowl in Tampa Bay, but now Deshaun's up there in Carolina. Hey, come in division. Whenever you have a badass baller quarterback, people come to want to play with that guy. And if we're able to manage our cap space accordingly and get some dollars off the book and make some money to sign some players to build a football team and draft well, like Deshaun Watson is the best answer that David Tepper could give to the fan base right now, especially after we've been spurned with the whole Cam Newton situation and how they let him go. Like, that would immediately ingratiate him to all the fans that are still pissed off about how they did Cam and even who they replaced him with in Teddy fucking Midwater. So
it's not going to happen, though. Is Deshaun Watson is not coming to Carolina. I don't think that we. And I just think that the 8th pick is not enough of a launching point. Now, let's go ahead and jump into one cat call, and then we'll talk some quarterbacks. All right, we'll keep this show moving. The number's 252-228-5098. Be a part of the longest running Panthers podcast. We're in our 9th season. It's this is season 21.2. And it's by the year 21. Episode 2. Be a part of the show. Thumbs up. Guess what's free? Subscribing, sharing, smashing the thumbs up. That's all we need from you. Be a part of the community. Let's see what you guys got to say.
What are your thoughts on catcalling?
Yeah, it's pretty. You shouldn't do that to somebody.
And how did that make you feel?
Very uncomfortable.
So how do you think catcalling makes the person feel?
It feels good, like.
Who's that cat sitting in the back corner with his face buried in his nose? Who's that kid that can use one?
Yo, C3, your boy, Josh from Mass.
Josh?
Thankful that we got some rain up here in the north.
Well, Josh.
Another goddamn snowstorm.
Jeez, it's been raining here for like 2 months.
All around the country, everybody's been having some bad weather. Hope everybody in the Panthers family, Panthers Nation is doing all right.
True that.
That aside, we released KK, and I mean, I wasn't surprised. This is a cut that I think a lot of us foresaw. You had to foresee it. You just did. Guy played 5 games over the last 2 seasons, and has around a $12 million cap hit. Dropping him saves us about $8.5 million, I believe, and we're in a spot where we really need it because it looks like the cap is going to shake out at about $180 million. So my question is what do you think we're going to do with this cap for freeing up? Is it all to just try to keep Moten, or are we going to try to keep Moten and Samuel and, just draft well?
Good question about Moten.
Do you think we really make a shot at Deshaun? I mean, I'd love to see it, but I just see it as a situation with too many variables given what we know right now. If we could distance ourselves from Teddy, or if there was a team willing to give us maybe a pair of third rounders for him, one this year, one next year, or I don't think any team's got two
I would
third rounders
take
this year,
a
but
bag of
whatever.
Doritos and
I
a
don't see
seventh
it
rounder for Teddy
really
Bridgewater.
being justifiable if we give up tons of capital, because we've got so
Hell,
much
just
need,
give me the bag of
unfortunately.
Doritos.
Yeah,
Have
man.
We're going to have to get
2 weeks.
offensive line talent somewhere in this draft.
They could be half
got
eaten.
to, so, I think you can get away with giving up 1 and 2, but I don't know about giving up 1, 2, and 3.
I'll take the Food Lion brand Doritos.
I think we're far more likely to move up in the draft on draft night and try to get to number 3, maybe even number 2, depending on what's going on there. Whether the Jets are really looking to take a quarterback, or whether there's other positions they're looking to solidify and they're just looking for draft capital. I could see that being a team that kind of goes either way. So, your thoughts on those situations, and hope to catch you all later in the chat.
All right, Josh,
have a good one.
You're the man. We appreciate it. I know you're avoiding the snow out there. He brought up the good thing. What's actually a good thing right now is that people in Louisiana are getting snow. Ha! I hope you ruin your avocado farms or whatever. I hope everybody is. I have family that lives in New Orleans. They're not accustomed to it. New Orleans has one of the highest homeless populations because they can sleep outside in the winter generally. So snow there is abnormal, but he did bring up the good point of Taylor Moton. Lynn in the chat says, tag Taylor Moton, and that is where the news that I have been hearing the Panthers are trending more and more. We have not heard talks about them in talks. Now, I don't know what that means. Like, do you ever hear about people in negotiations, or you just hear that they negotiated? But right now, Taylor Moton on the franchise tag seems the way to go, is the way that the Panthers are moving. I'm upset by this in some ways, is that I think this is a can kick down the road.
Yep.
Is that really at some point, when are we going to sign a player that's actually good? The funny part about the Carolina Panthers, I just pull up the salary cap on overthecap.com. Kawaan Short will count $11 million in dead money this year, despite saving the $9 million. Luke Kuechly still at another $7 million. How the hell are we paying Graham Gano still $1.5 million in dead money? I don't understand this, but listen to this. Cody has come on this podcast and told us how the biggest mistake the Carolina Panthers did was pay Christian McCaffrey. But you know what the funny part about this is, Cody? He's the third highest paid player. He's the third biggest one against the cap. He ain't even close. Teddy Bridgewater. Any guess on who the number 2 against the cap on the current Carolina Panthers team is?
Against the cap?
Like who's?
Hold on, I want to guess this because I know I'm just not missing it.
Matt, it's not no. It's not
a hint?
no more.
You want a hint?
Defense or offense?
No,
Defense.
it's Shaq Thompson.
Yes, it's Shaq Thompson. Now think about this: our largest cap hits right now, or just salaries: Teddy Bridgewater, Shaq Thompson, Christian McCaffrey, Robbie Anderson.
All players that are vastly overpaid.
Robbie is right. Look, actually, these guys are getting, though, Christian McCaffrey and Robbie Anderson are getting paid what they deserve.
Robbie, no, dude, whatever.
$12 million. $12 million.
No. Whatever.
No, let's go
Robbie
pick
is
another. No,
whatever.
you could go here. We'll go. That's fine. Is like you don't gotta love them. But what I'm just saying is we could get some other receiver for like $9 million who's not even in the same class. So $12 million for a receiver who put up 1,000 yards is not insane. $12 million for Christian McCaffrey, not insane if you think of it just in the vacuum. What is insane is that both of those players contribute more to this team. I won't say more, that's wrong. But Shaq Thompson, why is a middle linebacker? If you want to talk about positional value,
He's not even a middle linebacker.
Yeah, he's not even a middle one.
He's not even middle.
So this is why I guess maybe this is why I'm less, I'm not ready to jump on board on dumping on Robbie Anderson. It's only 1 year left on the deal. We could cut him right now and save $8 million if we wanted to. But Christian McCaffrey, again, you know what? Elite player. What I'm learning, though, is this. Think about this list. Here are our top cap liabilities.
Yeah.
Teddy Bridgewater, Shaq Thompson, Christian McCaffrey, Robbie Anderson. Finally, we're at Matt Paradis. Then we go Stephen Weatherly, Trey Boston, Derek Brown, Justin Burris, Brian Burns. So this is where I'm circling back to the Taylor Moton conversation and why I don't think the franchise tag is the appropriate way to handle this is that if we really were playing it by the numbers like you want to do, Cody, of what positional values are, we're paying all the wrong positions, period.
Yes, it's roster mismanagement.
It's okay if it's one or if all right, so we can argue over Christian McCaffrey, right? But we're talking about all the first 5 positions. Where it's not right. It's not right. Why don't we have this? Tells us there's been zero investment at offensive linemen. There's been zero investment really at defensive end as well. And that investment is a true monetary investment, is what I'm saying.
We're also overpaying players at positions that you shouldn't pay a lot of money for. And I don't care if I have to be the Debbie Downer that keeps on ringing this bell. Christian McCaffrey is overpaid. This is nothing against him as a man or as a player. He is overpaid. If you look at the Super Bowl winners of the last 10 years, you will be hard-pressed to find a team that has paid their running back more than $2 million. Okay, Shaq Thompson, as you alluded to, is not even a middle linebacker.
That's a lie.
What's a linebacker? No, what's a lie? Do I need to show you more evidence?
Yeah, what teams paid their running
talk about Gurley for the Rams. Are you talking about won the Super Bowl or went to the Super Bowl?
Won the Super Bowl. Well, Super Bowl. That's the only thing that matters is winning the Super Bowl. If you made it there, it doesn't matter if you had a high paid running back. All the teams that win the Super Bowl never have a large portion of their salary cap money going toward the running back position. They also don't have most of that. They also don't have the money going towards an outside linebacker who is primarily a 4-3 outside linebacker. So he's not even a pass rusher. And he's not even our inside linebacker who is in charge of
I wouldn't even put him as the leader.
My problem isn't really what we've paid Shaq or Christian. I mean, that's some of it, but it's the other side of the coin is what we're not paying other positions.
Yeah, like we're not paying left tackle or right tackle.
It's like we have not, and that shows you we've postponed the investment. And that is my fear with Taylor Moton. You franchise tag him. He gets older. He gets more expensive. He either gets hurt, you part ways, and you're the dicks of the situation, or he goes on to be sensational next year. And again, you can't do nothing about it while you're trying to draft people. Wouldn't it be nice to have one guy that you believed in on that offensive line that you then started to build the next guy and the next guy and the next guy? And it's just kind of like, if you look at this, is that really we are a squad of children and bums.
Well, yeah. Well, not
Tell me
even a
who's
bum.
not a child and who isn't a bum.
McCaffrey's not a bum, and Shaq Thompson, I
Right.
wouldn't say is a
But he's still
bum.
okay.
Well, he's
Yeah,
not a
Shaq
bum.
I'm going to say
He's a
this is
role player. He's
I'm done.
overpaid.
Okay,
His
yeah,
value
he's
does
over.
not
Yeah,
equal
that's
the
fine. But he
dollar
was
amount.
also we put a lot in on Shaq without him showing out.
Yeah.
It's not even. I mean, it is that he's overpaid, but here is that why do we pay him so much? This again, we paid Teddy Bridgewater a bunch of fucking money. He didn't show us shit.
We have
We
not
pay,
have had good decision makers paying people. The same thing that you're saying with Shaq Thompson right now, like what evidence was there that you would sign Shaq to that kind of dollar amount, like on film? It's the same thing with Teddy Bridgewater.
exactly.
What portion of film in their past caused you to look at them and say, yeah, this is a good contract for the services they will provide us? It is bad roster management, and it hurts us now. It hurts us now because we have money going toward players that are overpaid. And, dude, winning that Washington game, I know I harp on this, but man, that was a bad win for a team who was desperately trying to get their quarterback. And David Tepper has to take a lot of the blame for this, because one of the things I was saying, and Tony can vouch for me on this, I was saying rip the Band-Aid off. Right after you came in, after you gave Ron Rivera a chance, the next year, you should have ripped the Band-Aid off with him. You should have ripped the Band-Aid off with Mario Herney as well. And then you probably wouldn't be in this situation right now. To bring it all back to Taylor Moton, and listen, I know you guys might disagree with me, but I believe that Taylor Moton is a better player and provides more value to the Carolina Panthers than Teddy Bridgewater, Christian McCaffrey, and Shaq Thompson combined.
Well, I
That
won't
is
go
how
as far as
important
to
a
Christian
player like
McCaffrey.
Taylor Moton is.
I do think this is that Lynn says, so what are we talking about doing then? What do you do do you let him walk? No, you don't. You don't even franchise him. You extend him. And she then says, at what amount? I'm at the point right now is that I'm not going to let $2 or $3 million a year on the salary cap let this big dog walk out of town.
Yeah, and why do we question it?
I will cut, and that's what I've been that has been a lot of my argument against you about Christian McCaffrey, though, is that if you are trying to say, oh, is it $2 million too much? You know what? I'll find a way to save $2 million to get the thing I want. Or that sounds a lot. Like, you know what I'm saying? But you can, if you really want a new shiny webcam or something like this, and you have a limited budget, what you just do is you find ways to not eat out. You find ways to cut in other areas because you want to spend that money here. So what I'm saying here is this, is I want to invest in our offensive line. I want to invest in Taylor Moton. And if that causes us to say, you know what, we're going to allocate a little bit more to him than we truly want to, $5 million over 5 years, then so be it. Stephen Weatherly, see you later. Who else? And at the end of the day, wouldn't you say if you had the choice between Taylor Moton and Robbie Anderson, that you could sign Taylor Moton and potentially draft the next Robbie Anderson in the 2 or 3 hole in this upcoming draft, or find a guy that maybe could fit in and get some of that? So I think that Taylor Moton is a priority for this team because we have not had an offensive line ever. So you want to know why we don't have an offensive line? Because we haven't done what it takes to get one.
But also,
and here's a good example.
But why is it that all these players that aren't worth it, we have no problem signing them to these big dollar amounts? But then whenever it's an important player like a right tackle or like Andrew Norwell when he was about to leave, we're like, there's only so many dollars you can spend on a football team, and you have to. All of our best players we're like, well, I don't know.
I don't want to spend.
Well,
I'm with you. I'm going to use your own argument against you, though, is that we shouldn't spend that money on guards, bro. That money should be reserved to the tackle positions.
Why do you think Patrick Mahomes was annihilated in the Super Bowl?
Because
His
their
offense
entire
up and
offense,
down.
because all of them were fucked up, man. It
But
wasn't
he
just
also,
one. It was the Rimmers was playing left, a guard was playing right, a guard was playing center. It was like nothing. There wasn't even one player, I don't even think, on the squad that had played that position all year long.
he had no
am I
room.
saying guards are unimportant? No. But are you more able to find alternatives for them? Again, this is like back to your dollar cost averaging assessment. So Taylor Moton is on the clock for us. I think we got to go ahead and expect that Justin Burris and Stephen Weatherly, another $9 million you can put on this cap to get somebody. I think that those guys have to have their phones on silent right now. Airplane mode.
But then if we cut them, who do we have behind them? How important
is you can get league minimum dudes, right?
How
so first of
important
all,
are they
I would
to our
say
roster?
how important is Justin Burris to this Carolina Panthers?
I mean,
roster?
he made some splash plays, but do any of us see him as a starter, as like a future part of our plans moving forward? No, it's a good rotation.
I know Stephen Weatherly's got to go, bro. Stephen Weatherly saves us almost $6 million, and he played like 8 minutes last year. And I like the guy. Like, I like his goggles he plays with. He's super nerdy and smart. He's got this beautiful family. You thought he was going to be coming from Minnesota and finally getting his opportunity. Got like a little finger injury. Done.
He's a glass blower too. Did you know that?
No, really?
Yeah, me and my mom were watching that glass blown show on Netflix, and he was the special guest on one of the shows. Yeah,
he likes to smoke weed then too.
Probably so. But at that position though, we really don't need him. So we have F.A. Obata coming back. We know we just drafted Yetur Gross-Matos. We have
Christian Miller for 5 cents.
So Christian Miller opted out last season because of COVID. He's a guy that I was really high on coming out of Alabama.
Marquise Haynes is getting paid $1 million. That's it.
Yeah, so we really have rotational guys at that position. I mean, we really don't. I would say Justin Burris is more important right now than Stephen Weatherly, and I'm not. That's not an endorsement of Burris. That's just
That's just
from a position standpoint and where our roster is strong.
I don't disagree with that statement at all.
I don't dislike Burris, man, but at some point is that you have to recognize you're on a team that you're making more money than Brian Burns.
It's crazy to think about.
I mean, it is insane. I mean, Brian Burns, this is the importance of rookie deals. But I don't know how we don't have any cap room. I don't get it. How do we not have any cap room when our best paid players are just Shaq Thompson, Teddy, and Christian? And
it's going to be a little while, man. The combination of Gettleman and Hurney, two completely inept idiots, ran us into the ground. And we're going to be dealing with it for a little while, and we're going to see how skillful our general manager is in navigating these types of situations.
He can manage to give us long-term sustained success. Obviously it would be fantastic if we had a franchise like the Seahawks. It sucks that they've been a value. I mean, been relevant for so long and only had 2 Super Bowl appearances, one of which they won, but nonetheless, they've been successful, and that's what I'm looking for. I want to be able to look forward to every season, and if they can build something like that here, I think that'll be vastly improved. Because my first thing I wanted to say to you, Cody, when you said 2 inept idiots, is those 2 inept idiots did build a Super Bowl franchise, right?
And I was up here. I was a Gettleman, and in 2015, 2016, I was a Gettleman believer, bro.
Yeah.
I had the Gettleman for president in 2016 as my profile. So hindsight is 2020, but somebody brought this up as Joseph Broach said the reason we don't have an O-line is because we drafted 20 DBs under Gettleman that didn't pan out. Half of them were under Gettleman and half of them were under Hurney. The list is long and unimpressive. Actually, one of them did pan out. He just panned out for New York.
Yeah.
His name was James Bradbury. All right, the number's 252-228-5098. We're about to get into this quarterback discussion. How do we fix it for the Carolina Panthers through the draft? We've talked about potentially the options of Deshaun Watson, but we're focused on a different solution that we think is probably the more prudent one. Who will the Carolina Panthers draft at quarterback if they do this year? Will they punt on it? I've got some big thoughts, and this is what I want you guys to think about as we take this call. Every year the NFL draft comes about, we rank the players, and guess what happens? Some team does something crazy. They go and get the Cleveland Farrell guy at like the second pick or something. You're like, nobody saw that coming. No. So will Trey Lance be drafted at number 2, leaving us with Justin Fields or Zach Wilson or something even wilder? You never know in the NFL draft. The number's 252-228-5098. Let's see what you guys got to say.
Hey, this is Tyler from Sprucepine.
What's up, Tyler?
Question for Coach.
That's for you.
What's up, bro?
I'm gonna go take a leak then.
So, you guys are really high on Trey Lance, and you guys seem to be getting higher on Trey Lance just about every single week. So, I guess my question is, how do you justify his extremely low completion percentage? I get that completion percentage can be an inflated stat, but at the same time, against some bigger competition, his completion percentage has been below 50%, and that's what worries me. That's why I also think that we're not going to draft Trey Lance, and I think more than likely you're going to see us draft Mac Jones. And I hate to say that, but with the coaching staff being so high on Mac Jones during the Senior Bowl and Matt Rule getting a close look at him, I really think the odds are pointing in the Mac Jones direction. Also, I've seen reports saying that, he can sit behind Bridgewater for a year because we can't waste that contract. And I don't see any team taking on that contract or wanting him as part of a trade deal, so we're kind of stuck there. I just really think all signs are pointing in the direction of Mac Jones because he's more of a fit for Joe Brady's offense than what Trey Lance is. And I just think Mac Jones checks one of those important boxes, important as in important to Joe Brady, that Trey Lance just doesn't. So not saying that I hope we get Mac Jones, but I'm saying that I think that's the direction that we're going to go in.
Reading the tea leaves.
Thanks for what you guys do, Keith.
Yeah, so listen, Trey Lance is going to be a quarterback that we're going to be talking about a lot over the next couple of weeks. And his completion percentage to me is, listen, we do this thing. And we're going to have to talk about this with Tony, too, because I do believe Tony's starting to come around on our guy Trey as well.
I'm easy, bro. I'm easy. You put a shiny toy of a pretty girl in front of my face.
Now all of a sudden North Dakota State don't matter too much to you anymore. But listen,
I put the little protector over the name. That's what I did. Anytime I see Bryson, I go, man, that's got to be something else.
Listen, a lot of people want to talk about the level of competition that a person plays, and that is important. And a lot of things go into that. I'm more impressed by Trey Lance's lower completion percentage with lesser receivers and lesser talent, that he was still able to lead to an undefeated season for their conference in 2018. I'm more impressed by that than than Matt Jones, at Alabama, sitting in a pocket where a bunch of behemoth offensive linemen are protecting him, keeping him upright. He has
What's
guys
the problem
like
with the
Jalen
completion
Waddle.
percentage? I don't understand what the completion percentage problem is.
He was saying that against, and I was looking this up, that against certain levels of competition, he has a below 50% completion percentage.
Well, he did. He played one game in 2020. One game.
And that was
and he was 15 for 30, which was 149, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. RTG was 107. I don't know what that means. I mean, I'm guessing that's like their quarterback number. But here's what I'm looking at is 2019. There's 192 completions on a 287 attempts, 66.9. So that's a 67% completion rate. 28 TDs, 0 interceptions. So I don't know if I see it as a red flag as much as we thought with like Josh Allen, right? Was it completion percentage?
Josh Allen had like a 57% completion,
and it was over more than one season.
It was 2 seasons at 3 seasons at Wyoming. But yeah, listen, he's the type of player that what you have to understand is you're drafting a tremendous upside. You're drafting a player that has all of the things that you look for in a quarterback: the ability to run, to be able to run RPO type offenses that really confuses defenses. Look, I don't have to tell you guys. Look at what Cam Newton did forever here in Carolina, but also the arm talent, man. And this is when I really start to preach about not judging the helmet. You're judging the player. A tight window throw is a tight window throw. Reading, going through your progressions and trusting your protection, going from 1 to 2 to 3, back to 1, like being able to go through, do all the things that you have to do to be a franchise quarterback. He exhibits all of those traits in a way that Matt Jones doesn't. Now, one of the things that we don't know is how good they are on the board. So understanding, the playbook and learning on the fly. There's a lot that Trey Lance has left to prove because he doesn't quite have the resume that these other quarterbacks do. He doesn't have the resume of Justin Fields, definitely of a Trevor Lawrence, and even not as much film as Zach Wilson. So when you look at what he was able to do in such a short amount of time, the dude has everything that you want. And if we're going to have Teddy Bridgewater for another year, no matter what, it's like it does help that we have the ability to either let him sit and learn for a little while, or we continue to suffer through Teddy and his bullshit, or he's able to come in and play right away. And whenever you do your research on the young man and listen to his interviews, he's an incredibly hard worker. He's been counted out his entire life. This is another guy that didn't get a bunch of Division I offers. A lot of teams passed on him. I forget the college that he wanted to attend, but they wouldn't even look at him. They wanted to play him as a receiver. Here, hit full screen, Tony. So, like, even on that play right there, man, to drop it in a bucket, there was not a lot of separation on that go route between the receiver and the defensive back. And Trey is able to just layer it right in front of him, drop it into the bucket, and let his receiver do the rest. This kind of arm talent, like, look, that's a fucking 62-yard throw right there, man. Like, dude, he has all of the intangibles that you want from a quarterback. And look how tough. The man will put his shoulder down, bowl you over, and fight for the extra yardage. He's put together well, 6'4", 220 plus pounds. The guy represents a building block that doesn't come around very often.
Well, that begs the question, because I think it's, I know we're going to be talking about all these guys. I think that Trey Lance would probably be in the category of people that has the
He's
potential
20
to
years
really,
old, by the way,
the potential to really like skyrocket in value at the combine, or really take a big dip. Like he seems like he could be one of those types of prospects where the combine does a lot as far as what his position will be in the draft. I know his film looks good, but because of those question marks around the talent, around what he's going to be able to do on the NFL side of things, would you agree? I mean, what are some of the prospects that are most likely to be, or I guess which prospects is the combine most important for?
Well, you first and foremost, you should value film over what you see at the combine. So, for example, Orlando Brown has been in the news recently wanting a trade. And Tony, I don't know if you remember this, but Orlando Brown had a notoriously horrible combine. I mean, he
looked terrible. The problem with Orlando Brown is he just like looked fat and like it didn't. He just looked like a big gooey blob.
And he didn't test. He didn't put up a lot on the bench. And offensive lineman is supposed to be just physical play strength at the point of attack. So when he only had I want to say 12 or 13 bench presses of 220 pounds, that's incredibly low for an offensive lineman.
Yeah.
However,
throw right here. Oh goodness.
Yeah, rolling to his right, back across the field from the opposite hash.
Looking people right. You're getting everybody moving. Boom.
Yeah. Teddy Bridgewater on his best day would never be able to do some shit like that.
But I got a lot to say about Trey Lance, so keep going.
The reason I brought up Orlando Brown is because whenever you looked at his film from Oklahoma, you were always able to see, man, this dude is talented. This dude is a good tackle. He just didn't test well. It's the same thing with Trey Lance. I see him as a very fast quarterback. I see the arm talent. Unless he just absolutely looked pathetic at his pro. And by the way, it's not even a combine this year. Every college is going to have their own version of a pro day, kind of like what Trevor Lawrence.
They're not going to do a real combine this year?
No, every college is going to have their own pro day, and they're going to do all of the things at their pro day. So
God, that sounds horrible.
I mean, that's
guys, if you want to get me less interested in the combine, you know how to do it. Not have it.
Yeah, right.
All right. So you put up a poll about Trey Lance or Justin Fields, right? In fact, it just closed 9:30 tonight, I believe.
I'll pull it up.
And when I'm in full screen, I can't see you guys. I need two monitors, bro. It's so bad.
Dude, you can get a nice little $100 monitor and it'll be perfectly fine.
I know.
All right. So is this able to show? Well, yeah, you're gonna have to take yours off, Tony.
Okay. All right. Here, let me take these Mac Jones. I want to look at these highlights still. All right. Let's see what you got. Oh, I gotta add. Here's my suggestion to StreamYard. We need dual authority here in the stream. I want Cody to be able and CK to be able to manipulate the stream, not just me.
So this is the poll that I put up on Twitter with over 401 votes. This was the question that I asked to Panther Nation. Who should the Carolina Panthers pick if both are on the board at 8, Trey Lance or Justin Fields? And at 71.3% of the vote for the Ohio State Buckeye, Justin Fields.
What'd you vote?
I didn't even vote. I let everyone.
How did you not vote?
I'm testing the temperature, man. Because
I voted.
I see. Oh, I already know who you voted for. You already. You have a crush. And I wish
Isn't it weird? It's weird. I tried to tell this girl I didn't like her. And then guess what? It was like me. It's like when kids tease each other.
Yeah.
And it's like you're being mean. You're like, he likes you, little girl. So I was being mean to the Bison. I got some reasons, though. I voted Trey Lance. I'm one of those 28.7%ers.
All right. So
you know why? You want to know why?
Yeah, why don't you tell us? And then we'll ask CK who he would pick based off of what he knows, and then we'll read some of the comments that I promised that we'd read.
All right. So when I have not watched a lot of film, right, is I've seen Justin Fields play a couple of games live, not like I was there, but I watched them on television. And I've seen Trey Lance play a couple of games on YouTube. Now, I like this. Trey Lance, to me, is like they both have similar type body types to me. Body types. Trey Lance and Justin Fields, they look like I'm trying to think of who they resemble in the maybe Justin Herbert a little bit, maybe a Marcus Mariota figure. Like, what would you
Who are you talking about?
Build? Both of them, they look very similar in their builds to me. Kind of tall, like could grow into a man body, but also athletic looking.
They are both very athletic. They're both Trey Lance,
but not giant like Cam, right? Is like neither of them do you look at. Both of them I look at in this, and I would be maybe like a little bit of Lamar-ish, is that like they can run, but you're hoping they don't get.
No, I disagree. No. So especially when you see that Trey Lance video when he puts his shoulder down. Like,
yeah,
okay,
but
Cam
man, he's a big boy. He's
but Trey Lance is not thin. He's not a little dude. If you look at him,
he's 6'4", 227. No, that's what I'm saying. Is that you're right. Is Justin Fields that much different though?
Justin Fields is probably Justin Fields is 6'3". He was in the 230s, but now he is in that 220-pound range. Physically, I would
similar body types.
Well, I would compare Justin Fields more to a Deshaun Watson in a body type. And I would compare Trey Lance more
to Aaron Rodgers.
Well, no, more like I really do see a lot of Josh Allen in him. He really does have a crazy arm. He's around the same height, that 6'4", 6'5" type. Dude, Cam Newton was 6'5", and Trey Lance is 6'4", he doesn't get hurt.
Right. He's tall.
He's tough.
He doesn't get hurt because he doesn't play because they didn't play at all. Here's one other good thing about Trey Lance is he's 20 years old.
Yeah.
While Zach Wilson and Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence, all old men at 21 years of age. This is awesome how young quarterbacks are. I looked at Trey Lance's, tape. That makes you sound like I don't know nothing about this shit. All I know is I got the regular eyeball test, and his footwork seems pretty legit. Like he seems to move and navigate around the pocket well, right? And I think that's important for a guy so they're not just a run-first option. I like that. The other thing that really stood out to me for Trey Lance, and I'll need to go study what Ohio State's offense looks like in BYU's, but he played a good deal under center. And yes. I like seeing this
both of them did
those pro formations because really you see a lot of quarterbacks slinging around the yard in college out of the shotgun, but that does not help the running game, and it gives defenses a little bit of an advantage, it feels like, when you're only out of the shotgun. So I like that. I think that he is I think he checks the boxes of potential. I think he is more what could be. Justin Fields is a little bit more now. And Zach Wilson, out of those three, is like kind of the safer. We're used to this type of quarterback a little bit more.
I don't know. No, if I'm ranking them right now, I haven't put out my official rankings. That's still a little way down the road. But right now, I would put Trevor Lawrence number 1 and Zach Wilson number 2. Zach Wilson.
And who's number 3?
Incredible this year.
You tell me who number 3 is.
Right now, I have to give it to the resume that I feel deserves it the most. And just narrowly right now, I would have Justin Fields just a little bit ahead. That does not mean that I don't have my own personal trepidations with
What
Justin
about
Fields.
potential? What about the ceiling?
Well,
do you put him ahead
feel,
because of his resume, what he's done, and the Power 5 spirit that he's been in? Or do you look at Trey Lance could be the guy that scouts are saying, this is the dude who makes me the genius. And I think that there's more of a risk with Trey Lance, but I think that the upside is higher maybe for him and Zach Wilson. And my buddies on Play Like a Jet podcast, they put out a podcast and story yesterday or today about how Trey Lance actually fits the Jet scheme the best. That's what I was trying to circle back to, is that on draft day, somebody always does something silly or against what we think. Maybe a Fields or a Lance goes above a Wilson or something like that. Maybe Lance falls to 8. These are questions that, or these are things that could happen.
Yeah, they definitely could happen. I would say that Justin Fields has a higher floor. I would say that Trey Lance probably over time has the potential to have a higher ceiling. But that said, though, but listen, I also don't want to short sell Justin Fields either, because you have to understand that him and Trevor Lawrence have been neck and neck since they were in high school as these highly touted quarterbacks that have won everywhere they've been. In high school, Justin Fields was winning games and putting up numbers and doing all kinds of crazy shit. He wasn't able to start at Georgia, but the minute that he takes the field at Ohio State, and yeah, they have a ton of talent, but so what? So does Alabama and Clemson and LSU and all these other places. So the minute he stepped foot on the field for them, he was as advertised. He has a live arm. One of his longest downfield throws was a 61-yard bomb against my Clemson Tigers, no less. Putting it right out in front of people. He is very mobile. I mean, his legs are a real weapon. He is incredibly nimble. He also has relations to Cam Newton. He's been at a lot of Cam Newton 7-on-7 competitions throughout the year. Cam Newton has been in videos telling all the college teams that they need to sign Justin Fields. So they're kind of buddies and boys. And a lot of people, I think in Panther Nation, kind of see that as passing the baton from Cam Newton to his protege in Justin Fields.
I don't care about that one bit. That's not influencing my perspective at all.
It doesn't, but to some people it does. Stuff like that does kind of matter, and they do have a similar play style and how they throw the football. But as a runner, people try and compare them. But my real problem with Justin Fields is, even though he has never missed a game due to injury, he has been hurt a lot. I mean, he was hurt last year against Clemson in the semifinal. One of our linebackers damn near broke his rib this year. In high school, he had to have a surgery on his throwing hand on one of his fingers. So I'm always of the mindset that if you're hurt in high school and college, that probably doesn't get better as you move into the pros. Other than that, that's my only real trepidation with him. I think Justin Fields doesn't go through his reads sometimes quite as well. Like, he'll get stuck up on one receiver and then not come off of him fast enough. But it's not all the time. And it's just little moments when the protection breaks down and he can kind of get flustered. I've seen that happen to Trevor Lawrence too. So again, I value his tape very high. I just worry about his injury history. But CK, did you want to chime in on this before I read some comments here?
Like, I think that, what you've that's the perfect example of what we talk about, and Trey Lance again is at at the height of the combine, I think will be a big part of what motivates teams to either put him above certain, certain prospects or not. I don't think you're going to see a tremendous amount of movement with these guys, but I do think that you're right. I think Trey Lance has the potential to be that guy that's, taking you to a level. I'm not going to sit here and say he's the potential to be Pat Mahomes, right? Nobody has the potential to be Pat Mahomes until they're Pat Mahomes. But he does have a higher ceiling, but there's also that fear of like, if he fizzles out, now we're setting our franchise back another 5 to 10 years. Whereas Fields is a safer bet. We know that he put him in a system that he can thrive in. He's going to do well. I'm the same. Last year, I said my concern for Tua was his injury history. My same thing with Fields this year. I voted for Fields just because I think the same thing, just the volatility that surrounds Trey Lance. We don't have enough evidence to show that he is, NFL ready. But, I think the combine can change a lot of our minds.
Cody, you got a new fan. Lynn is a fan of yours and your analysis you bring.
Can we also talk about, and I don't mean to take away from Lynn's comment there, but can we
Lynn
talk?
knows I love her.
We didn't talk about at all the fact that Miami has made a commitment to Tua.
How?
Have they?
Really?
Yeah, they've said that they're committed to the development of Tua at this point, which is why in all the mock drafts you're not seeing Miami take a quarterback anymore.
I also have seen some discussion too about the Atlanta Falcons having too many holes on their team to be able to devote their draft pick to a quarterback when they got one.
Yeah.
So this is where the draft day excitement comes in. And by the way, the C3 Panthers podcast every year does a live draft party where we watch the first round of the draft together, react to it. And this will be we started doing that maybe our second year. So this will be our 8th, I think, draft party, somewhere in there, 7 or 8. Is that there's always something bizarre that happens. And that's why I continue to say is like, watch Jacksonville take Trevor Lawrence. Watch the Jets take Trey Lance. And then someone trade in for Zach Wilson, and all of a sudden Justin Fields is there. You know what I mean? And I just like this is, I don't know. I think that Justin Fields feels safer, but I think that that's just a little bit because we're afraid.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm not overly impressed with him. He's very good, but I don't know.
He doesn't get you excited.
This is what I would say. So listen, I've been listening to a bunch of people this draft season already telling me, oh, Zach Wilson, I don't like him. His pocket was too clean. Or Trey Lance, he plays for the Bison. They're not even Division I. Or, oh, dude, these Ohio State quarterbacks, they never work out, man. Look at the history of slubs they've had come through there. My thing is this, and I don't care who it is. If you don't like a player, I just want you to be able to tell me why. Tell me what about them you don't like. So, for example, I don't like Matt Jones and Kyle Trask. I can tell you why. Because they're not mobile. I think that today's NFL is dependent upon quarterbacks that can move the pocket and make a play when the pocket breaks down.
Or survive when their offensive line is all hurt.
Yeah, absolutely. To be able to make a play on their own and to be able to make tight window throws. I value that highly. And I do not see the mobility or the tight window throws from Kyle Trask. And Matt Jones, he has a good deep ball, but he also had a ton of wide open receivers at Alabama with a bunch of first round. Like Alabama has another 2 wide receivers that are going to go in the first round this year. And Devontae Smith and Jalen Walker.
North Dakota State is also like the Alabama of their division.
Yeah, and they were undefeated.
And so he's got similar talent on their scale. I think what's fun is you guys were saying what you can tell me about who you like, who you don't like. one of my funny things is that I'm in like on my third date now. Is that my first date was Zach Wilson. Like I already fell in love and got turned down because he has climbed the ranks of being, in my mind, what seems right now to be the consensus number 2.
Yeah.
Where going into this season, before we saw anything, it was Fields. And I'm sitting there going, oh, I could get this beautiful Zach Wilson. Is he a Jet? Is Zach Wilson a Jet? And he just looks like another Sam Darnold blonde. Have you seen, did you see Zach Wilson's mom's?
Yeah, she's hot as hell.
Yeah, she's good looking.
I did see her. I watch. So I treat quarterbacks. I treat all my evaluations a little bit different. I don't just watch film.
You judge them based on how hot their mom is.
Yeah,
I
always. Their moms and their sisters and their girlfriends. Yeah, for sure. But what I always definitely try and do is listen to their interviews. Like I want to know a little bit about what motivates them, what their background is, what they come from, their level of emotional intelligence. Like all that stuff is really important for a quarterback. And that's why I'm sold on Zach Wilson and Trey Lance. I do think that they're great young guys. I think that they're motivated. They have a chip on their shoulder. They have something that they want to prove, and I see a bunch of that in Trey Lance, and I see that in Justin Fields also. A lot of these quarterbacks have a lot of these traits that we want. I wanted to hit on a few.
Yeah, get to these comments.
So my man TLS Panthers V2 says Justin Fields because he has more experience. Him being an Ohio State quarterback and some small injury concerns are definitely flags. But he didn't just start one season in the FCS. So again, a lot of people still hold this sentiment that because he didn't play Division I football, that it's a gamble, and that they're not necessarily wrong. I just think there's some nuance to it. My man Ray says Justin Fields, he can make every throw inside or outside the structure. Like that he can get good throws off without a clean pocket, as I alluded to. Almost
He's
like
a good
Deshaun.
follow on Twitter, man. I like him.
That's right. Oh yeah, that's my man. That's my homie. Matt Jones is going to be better, says Trap 2.
There's G. Cavassier. G. Cavassier wants some Fields.
Yeah, man, he says Fields. He says
Fields reads the Fields better, pun intended.
My man Jay Tisdale says both of them I'll roll with, but I'll take Fields because I know his intangibles. He can lead. Not saying Lance can't. I just don't know his intangibles. I gotta watch his interviews. And you already saw I posted an interview up for him to watch. I really enjoy listening to quarterback interviews, especially when they're breaking down their own film. I really enjoy that. One fan's opinion, UNC Navy 03 says 1 month ago, I would have said Lance, but watching Fields more lately, it's clear he's more consistent and better at recognizing and manipulating defenses. And that was one of the things that I felt in watching Trey Lance's 2018 season. I was impressed with how calm he was and how well he knew the play. He never seemed to overwhelm. He never seemed to have a problem reading the defenses. And he didn't throw an interception. And I think that's where people kind of miss that. In 2018, my man didn't throw one interception. And he was chucking the ball downfield like Tony showed you earlier. Pantherholics podcast says, I'm giving Fields a slight edge because of his resume. But we can afford to keep Lance on the bench if he needs time to adjust. So there's another one, too. A lot of people are saying if you're going to,
what about this Trey Lance's Carson Wentz 2.0? What is your response to that?
Me and him went back and forth, dude. It's such a lazy criticism. The only
is it really?
Reason,
can we criticize?
Why is he making?
Carson Wentz just yet?
Why is he making that comparison? So my thing is this: if you're gonna compare a player, tell me what's comparable about them. Don't just tell me that they were both quarterbacks for the Bison. Tell me
Both
something
big
different.
arms, both mobile, both. I don't know. You tell me. What is the similarities? I think that if anything, I think the league's given up too quickly on Carson Wentz. I can understand the trepidation. I can understand the concern with him, but to toss a guy to the wayside after one season of just a shitstorm that was the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, 2 years ago, people were saying this guy is like the best quarterback in the league.
He had an MVP type of season when the Philadelphia Eagles went to the Super Bowl. I mean, that season, Nick Foles finished it out, but it was built on what Carson Wentz was able to do for him. So I agree with you. I kind of think that they're giving up on him a little too early, but I think it's a very lazy comparison. Like you're not one telling me all the reasons why Carson Wentz failed, and then telling me why Trey Lance represents those same types of qualities that you think are going to fail. It just doesn't make any sense. It's a lazy comparison. Our man Dev, Panther fan for L, says Lance by 1%. I feel like Trey has the potential to be a top 3 to 5 quarterback if he isn't rushed on the field. Then again, I feel like Fields will be around top 10 every year and probably can start week 1.
All right, my question to you. All right, so I think that's the number one edge right there is who can start faster. Right. The question, I think, and I do think this is probably going to be a legitimate question for Trey Lance. Limited experience in college. Not only is it limited experience in college, it's not the best of the best. It's not the most advanced sports league in the world. Let's just say that. It's not the pros, right? So is the curve, are there concerns about the curve enough to put Fields over the top when it comes to that? Panthers are picking at number 8, and in some odd world, Trey Lance and Justin Fields are there. Cody Lashney, what are you doing? Don't
put me on, really?
A pussy.
You put me on the spot right now.
Yeah, I mean, you brought this crap up.
I did. Listen, I'm probably gonna say Trey Lance.
Wow.
And the reason, like, listen, I think the film and the overall body of work for Justin Fields is more impressive. And I do think Justin Fields has an incredible amount of physical talent to back it up. Like, it's not like conversations in the past where even Joe Burrow did all this incredible stuff, but the arm talent, he didn't have a big arm. I would say Justin probably has a bigger arm than Joe Burrow. But I think overall, even though Trey Lance hasn't played as much for as long, I think his upside, the potential that he has in him, I think is ridiculous. And as you mentioned,
the biggest arm in this draft, Zach Wilson.
Dude, it's tough, man. Like,
are you ready to shit on Trevor Lawrence? Is Zach Wilson got better arm talent?
No, I don't think.
I'm not trying to get you to shit on him, but if we were just looking at,
I don't think Trevor has the biggest pure arm talent in the draft, but still he has crazy arm. Man, sure. But it's between Trey Lance and Zach Wilson. Dude, both of them, they throw fucking missiles. But so does Trevor, man. Like,
I'm not trying to take away from it. I'm just
so does Justin Fields. Like, I don't want to be hyperbolic when I say that there are 4 potential franchise quarterbacks that all exhibit multiple different traits that a franchise quarterback must show. I'm not just trying to be generous and say all these guys are just great. This is a good quarterback class.
Lynn asks who has the best pocket presence.
Of the 4, if we're talking of the 4, Trevor, hands down. Hands down.
Both. I like the way Trey Lance looks in the pocket. I do. Like, he is not just run first, dude. I'm telling you, that they show him running, but that's not his game. It's not like the game. It's part of his game, but his game is as a quarterback. I have to look at the other guys. So I put you on the spot. Trey Lance, Justin Fields are there. At the 8th pick, the Carolina Panthers, Tony Dunn's the GM, Kyle Pitts. Nope. Fuck that. I am not
Damn,
taking
you really had to change your heart, huh?
No.
You went from loving
you
North
already
Dakota
got
State
me. Yeah,
quarterbacks. Now you're
Trey
wanting the
Lance
tight end
shit.
with the top 10 pick?
I'm starting to wonder though, what happens? What do you do, Cody, if we're on here on draft night and the chips fall? Justin Fields is there, Trey Lance is there, and we pick Penei Sewell. What's his name? What would you do? Yeah.
Penei Sewell.
Yeah. What do you do?
Dude, I don't even. I almost don't.
Would you
even
be
want
pissed?
to.
Would you be pissed if you passed on both of those guys?
Yeah,
They're that good. They're that good to get the best.
Yes, but also
Both
there is almost.
Come
dude,
on.
the Panthers are so
The best tackle, bro. We could load up. We could get Moten. We could get Brown. We could get this guy, that guy, bring them all in, and then plug
we'll
in.
give Teddy Bridgewater 5 minutes to throw a 5-yard pass.
No, it's
down
the
for
quarterback
it.
after Teddy that we give a good pocket to.
But
The
again,
next,
man,
whatever.
based
All
on what
All
I
right,
know,
we go. Let's go to the next call real quick.
well,
Let's go to the
Joey,
next call.
no, hold on, Joey said he wants to. He has to go to bed. He wants to know if you can play this call, if we can get the call in before.
Oh
before he
God!
has to go.
Special request. What's the last four?
5522.
5522.
Dude, handicap people move to the front of the line, Tony. Come on. Don't pretend you don't know this.
Stupid. That's funny. That's funny. All right. 5-2. Here we go.
Hey guys, it's Joey. I wanted to tell you about a crazy dream I had last night that's Panthers related.
Oh God.
This was hilarious. So I'm at Walmart.
Every
and
Panther dream starts at Walmart.
I'm doing something. I don't know what I'm doing. I can't remember. But I'm at Walmart nonetheless. And all of a sudden, I hear on the intercom, attention, if Teddy Bridgewater plays another snap for the Carolina Panthers, that is evidence that points to the existence of a deep state. And it was a girl that said that. And so I immediately dropped what I was doing, went to the front, found the girl who said that.
He reported
made out
the
with her
customer
and
service.
Said, wow.
That took a turn.
And the deep state thing, I guess she was talking about because Joe Brady handpicked Bridgewater. Bridgewater basically paid Brady, ended up making him think that he was an Olympic. But I guess that's what that means.
Did he say
anyway,
an Olympic or a lip?
Limp dick.
Wow.
He said limp dick, 100%.
Oh, okay. I thought he said that he was an Olympic.
I believe
I did
him,
not
Joe.
say it. First of all, the chat room is bringing all this up. I'm not talking about this. Y'all make fun of me.
We make fun of you because you're the one that brings it up.
Because it's real, bro. Like, how can you not bring it up?
He's stuffed.
Like the elephant in the room.
No, bro, he's stuffed.
You mean elephant
It's
trunk?
not real. It's not real.
I
It's
want
not
to listen to this. I want to give my man Dexter Henderson. He sent me an email. Dexter Henderson. He sent me an email and said, "Hey, Professor, just wanted to congratulate you on the coming of the new season on the C3 Panthers podcast. I wanted to say a huge thanks for keeping me up to date on all the Panthers news over here in Manchester, England. Really hard to get the gossip over here. The fan base you have doesn't have to be gigantic for it to be successful, dude. The podcast is the real deal. And I love listening every week. Keep pounding, Tony. Best wishes, Dexter. Thank you. Dexter, first of all, is just thanks for taking the time to pound that email out, man. Keep pounding. Those small things make us, just because we get up here and we're just rapping with our friends, having a good time. And it's nice to know that that people enjoy like us in this community that we've been building, right? And on top of that is England plays strong for some American football. We always get some of my best people. Some of the best people. I must have a little bit of English and Irish and something deep down in me. It's not just Italian.
Wait, who are you laying with?
Yeah.
Laying with? I ain't laying with nobody.
You said you had an Irishman deep down inside you.
Yeah. God. You did say that, to be fair. I just heard
I
say
don't.
it.
Oh my gosh, y'all.
I mean, you said it. He did. He didn't say anything.
I mean, you said it though.
You did say it. That's something that you just said.
And you did start it out by saying a little one. So I mean, I guess.
Yeah.
I wouldn't notice if he was there. Thank God he's not Black Irish like Teddy.
Could have been a fucking leprechaun.
Oh yeah. Next call.
Yo, guys, it's Nick.
Cover me
so,
for a second.
It's Tuesday afternoon.
What's up, Nick?
Because he backed out.
Sorry, I'm back.
The Carolina Panthers may be interested in trading Teddy Bridgewater. Hell yes. CMC. 3 first-round picks for Deshaun Watson.
That's the quote of the
I'm not
David
opposed to the Teddy Bridgewater
Newton, right?
Which, I don't think anybody would
Thanks
be
for joining
opposed
us.
to it. CMC, I'd be okay with trading CMC. We got Mike Davis. While I would love to have CMC with us, get the guy that we need, I'm okay with giving him up. But then to give up 3 first-round picks on top of that, I feel like that's too much. I feel like it should be Teddy Bridgewater, maybe Dante Jackson, maybe Robbie Anderson, one of those guys. Somebody who plays a role and does a halfway decent job, but is not over the top. Once you start factoring in CMC and 3 first-round picks, like that could be a trade all in itself. But the only way that we'd be able to make it happen is if we also got rid of Teddy Bridgewater. So, I mean, I'd love to hear what your guys' thoughts are on that. Maybe you guys can come up with another player that would be a good trade for it.
Shaq Thompson.
And the only way that I would be remotely okay with trading all of that for Deshaun would just be we would have to load up on weapons in the offseason. We would definitely have to get a couple of tight ends. And at least one of them would have to be a very good tight end. We would have to shore up the offensive line, which we already need to do anyways. But now, once you start talking about getting rid of one of our star running backs that is very easy to offload the ball to real fast to get the pressure off the quarterback, now we're just screwing ourselves. So would love to hear your guys' thoughts on that. And I got a nice uptick. I am icing up the entire media for not covering the Solar Winds hack back in December any more than for like a day or two. It is the largest hack in history, and not just in U.S. history, in global history. Okay, and on top of it, they hacked not only us but a few other countries as well.
Oh,
and
was
it's
this
been 2
on
months,
60
and
Minutes?
there's been next to no coverage on it whatsoever. So ice up everyone in the media for not covering that. Love the show, guys, and keep pounding.
It doesn't fit the narrative of what they want to talk about right now.
I mean, so a couple of points to hit on. Well, I need to look that up. I have no idea what he was even talking about.
The Solar Wind tax, a sophisticated malware campaign attributed to Russian intelligence, has affected local, state, and federal agencies in the U.S., addition to private companies, including Microsoft. The second group was likely using SolarWinds software to target organizations. So it's a type of software. Austin, Texas-based SolarWinds sells software that lets an organization see what's happening on its computer networks. In the Russia-attributed attack, hackers inserted malicious code into an update of the software. Oh, so this is awesome. Well, I won't say awesome. So what they did is they hacked a company that then works with like all of these other entities, arguably to see if you're like working from home virtually. Basically, Russia hacked the internet to find out that half of us are taking a nap while we're supposed to be working.
Yeah, basically. To kind of hit on Nick's call a little more, he's talking about giving up Christian McCaffrey and 3 first-round picks, and that frankly he thinks it's a little bit too much. And it is steep. And listen, let's for somebody who is as critical of Christian McCaffrey and his contract, like I'm not dumb. I can admit that a combination of Deshaun Watson and Christian McCaffrey is better than just Deshaun Watson by a lot. Christian McCaffrey is an incredible player. Again, to me, I would want to just offload the contracts. Like, he made the point of saying we would have to really invest on some weapons if it were going to go and get Deshaun. But, and again, call me the Clemson fan or whatever, knowing that you have a Travis Etienne who's probably going to be available at the top of round 2, that we could pick up, and is a receiver, and is a running back, and you're moving off of all that contract, all that money. That's why I've always been okay with McCaffrey being a part of it. But if we're going to add another player's contract to it, like CK, you mentioned Shaq Thompson.
Yeah.
But the thing that sucks is that we're already so thin at linebacker. And it's like to ship him out, he wasn't the root of our problems. He wasn't tremendous last year, but he's not a hindrance in our linebacker core like Tarir Whitehead was.
Yeah, but the problem isn't what his skill level is. It's what we've just recently talked about, which is he is well overpaid. Right.
And he might be more. I think we're almost saying he's better than average when he might not be.
I think he's mediocre.
Average. Yeah, I mean, I hate to be like that because I want all these guys to be awesome.
I do too. I
got
like
his
that.
jersey. We drafted him. I'm like, oh shit, we're gonna keep this damn linebacker trainer going. Gettleman knows what. I thought he was gonna be. You know what Dave Gettleman was trying to find with Shaq is what
Jeremy Chin is right now.
Yeah. That's exactly what I was looking for.
How mad does that make David Gettleman, though, that he wasn't the guy who found that Jeremy Chin?
Too early on it. I don't even think he was too early on it. I think that we've talked about this ad nauseum on this podcast about Ron Rivera's resistance and hesitancy to putting in players. I think the other time, sometimes you're trying to play chess when everybody else is playing checkers. And think about this. We drafted Vernon Butler to kind of use his leverage against KK and whoever else it was, Star. We were trying to go, all right, we can keep doing this. We can keep letting this roll. We drafted Shaq with the idea we're going to replace Thomas Davis. And you know what? We didn't have the guts to just do it. And so the years that Shaq would have been just like exhilaratingly good, he was playing a backup role. So, I don't want to blame it on Shaq, but like he is not Levante David.
No, he's not.
And he used to be more electric. Who knows? Maybe he's dealing with injuries. I tell you one thing, though, is the team likes him a lot. And if they don't like him a lot, they sure know his contract is a hindrance and they're making him a leader no matter what. He was giving out game balls like crazy this year. They made him the centerpiece. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just like you guys have said it. CK said it. Cody, you said it. Is sometimes it's hard to judge one player when everybody else around him is playing like shit. But I did not look at Shaq going, "Oh shit, that mug's making plays."
No one ever really has, and I still have
first
vivid.
2 years. He was instinct.
I feel like some of the most vivid memories I have of him are tackles that he didn't make. I remember
him in 2015.
Remember in 2017
playing against Fitzgerald. Remember he was lying. He
didn't wrap up on Kamara in the Superdome on the goal line in 2017 when we went into New Orleans. Like he didn't wrap up on the tackle, put his shoulder into Kamara, and Kamara, he does his voodoo shit, bounces off, and just strolls right into the end zone because Shaq couldn't wrap up.
Yep.
Yeah, it's look, if anything, we're just desperately pleading for Shaq to work out because we saw Vernon Butler not. Is that we've been through too many of these misses. We've had a tough run over the last 5 years, I would say, in missing some high level
our first rounders, yeah. I mean, or even our first two rounders. I mean, you look at Kelvin Benjamin. You look at Devin Funchess. You look at Shaq Thompson. You look at Vernon Butler.
There's who's the Love?
I don't know. Was he
Little? Sorry,
yeah, Little. Yep, Little. Was Greer third or second? I feel like second.
Third.
Was he?
Third.
I know he's our third pick, but didn't we trade up into the second to get him?
Nah, that was Little.
Okay. But nonetheless,
we need. Well, we're not going to walk down the road of draft mishaps again. But the fact that Shaq Thompson is like the best, he's not. Is Brian Burns is the best. In fact, that's probably our most. I would say Brian Burns has turned out better than DJ Moore.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
What do you say about that?
I would agree with that, but that's because Brian Burns' success wasn't reliant on a quarterback being able to get the ball to him.
It was also reliant on him getting in the rotation. Like he's only played a year and a half.
You're talking about Brian Burns?
Yeah. 52 snaps like his first years.
I mean, I don't want to take anything away from Brian Burns, but if you're going to compare the two, I mean, DJ Moore.
I would rather have Brian Burns than DJ Moore.
I mean, I can understand that. I'm not going to sit here. I mean, I think you need to have a great defensive end. And in this, when you're having to deal with some of these quarterbacks, especially with what Cody was talking about, the prototypical quarterback that is considered a great quarterback now is one that's mobile. If you don't have pressure coming from the outside, you're not really going to be able to stop some of these guys. And you saw that, a lot with Patrick Mahomes up until he didn't have an offensive line to stop the defense. But that's exactly what we talk about is like, if you don't have that defense to get to the quarterback quickly, he's going to be able to make magic happen. They didn't let Mahomes do magic. They almost got a couple times because of some ridiculous throws. But like, I think Brian Burns without question, but I think we're also judging DJ Moore on a handicap.
Both of them were at like 16 to Brian Burns to me has superstar written.
What do you mean 16?
Like at 16th pick around
No. DJ Moore was like late because it was our
23. Was it 23 maybe?
Yeah, it was like 23, 24.
He was the first wide receiver.
He was, in the draft. And that's why we were surprised we were able to get him.
No wide receivers be taken.
There wasn't. I remember because it was Calvin Ridley and DJ Moore. And none of them.
And they went back to back, right? Didn't we?
I thought they were both mid round. I thought they were both around.
It was at the end of the draft. It was after the 2017 season, so we were in the playoffs.
No, but Oh, so you're saying that we got DJ later because we were in the playoffs that year.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we got Burns at 16. Okay. All right. The number's 2. Look, smash the thumbs up button. Be a part of the show. The number's 252-228-5098. Let's go to the next call.
Hey guys, this is Chuck from Elizabeth City giving you a
what's up,
call.
Chuck?
Probably gonna be one of 2 calls a day. I guess this is the call
Let's
that
do it.
since it's slow time, off season, not a lot of news. Just got thinking about you guys since I've experienced the show now for this past few months. I've enjoyed it immensely. I know that Cody is a big Clemson fan. So other than the Carolina Panthers, what one sports team or what one activity do you guys love to do or interested in outside of the Panthers? Tony, and I know you support the East Carolina Pirates. I'm a grad myself. But one thing, CK, Greg, I know one of you guys has got a bunch of Star Wars or a bunch of Marvel comic figures on your wall.
That's
Just
great.
what one thing do you guys, each individually, if you're not following the Panthers, that you follow? Me, myself, I'm a huge sports guy. The Carolina Hurricanes after the Panthers. And I know it's a little off topic. But
No,
then y'all
this
see
is great. The
there has to be a
Hurricanes
way
are
to
on a
avert
fucking
your
run.
attention, whether it be a musical interest like my band Clutch I love listening to, or just anything else, whether it be the love of food or maybe you like to knit clothes. I don't know what you guys like to do. But it has to be something
Cody, do
outside
you
of the
knit?
Panthers to take your mind off a slow off season. Anyway, guys, I'll get back up with you later.
Oh, nice. I like this
appreciate
call.
the call.
All right.
I
This
love
is a great
the call,
call.
man.
Great call because we get to know each other. CK, you can't say play video games, but you can. First of all, CK is the master. He is the worst 150 game winner on Call of Duty in the world. That's his words, not mine. He is the master of streams. But what are your things, CK?
I think right now
Gaming, obviously.
Gaming, yes. I mean, I didn't want to go easy on this. I wanted to also say following other streamers, but I can't really watch other streamers as much as I'd like, because I'd much rather be playing the game, which is why it was so hard for me to kind of grasp why people would want to watch me. But
This is my favorite answer. Kevin says porn.
I would
Mr.
I would say I'm starting in this. Obviously, I like the Marvel series. I like anything, sci-fi related. So anything that way. But honestly, the first thing that came to my mind when he said that was the stock market and cryptocurrency.
Ooh. Are you going to sell your Doge coin?
I
Please
sold 500 of it when it was up. And then, so I'm just dealing with, I still have 14,000 Dogecoin that I don't even I'm playing with house money at this point.
House money.
Yeah, because I've sold the amount that I put in when it was up at its highest peak. And so it's dropped back down now, which is actually, I'm glad that it did at this point, not before I sold the 500.
It's because Elon Musk is an inside trader, dude.
Yeah. He's that
or whatever
he is bipolar.
It's the real life Tony Stark.
He is like bipolar, I think, as well, because
he's awesome. I love his
energy. He makes markets move. I do like how he is a rich advocate. Like, I do think we need like rich warriors more.
Yeah.
Where it's
fighting for the big guys.
No, not like fighting for them, but
like
fighting for their unique causes. Like, you know what I'm saying? So they're like, I've got $90 billion. Instead of just trying to make more billions, I'm also going to try to build Tesla. You know what I mean? Like that's, or space. Think of Elon Musk. It was like he did SpaceX, and we're talking, this is like 2009, bro. And he's out, so I like that. He's like a eclectic rich person. All right, Cody, what's your outside the Carolina Panthers? And CK, before we move on from the stock market, I do want to say this. I started a stock market account in 2015, 2016.
Yeah.
I put $2,000 in it.
Yeah.
It's like my fantasy stock account. It's not fantasy because it's real money, but still, I'm not like relying on it. this past week it is hit $6,000. So
Nice.
It's tripled in 6 years. Yes, that is nice. The sad part about this is that like 98% of any money I have made has been off of two companies, and it's PayPal and Square. And I've been selling Square off for the past 6 months, like a little bit by a little bit, and the bits just keeps running because of Bitcoin.
Yeah.
PayPal and them are all just they are fluffed up because Bitcoin is hot right now. So I don't think I'm good at stocks. I just happen to be good at buying Square, which I bought at like $30 originally.
Do you want me to depress you even more?
$270.
So I put my stimulus check in when the stock market crashed at the very beginning of the whole pandemic. And then that turned into $3,000. And then I took that out of the market and I put $500 into Dogecoin, and then that turned into $1,800. And so like I took $1,300 and then turned that into $5,000. Yeah. In a matter of less than a year.
You got to pay a lot of taxes on it then.
I'm keeping everything in. Like I haven't withdrawn it and actually put it in my bank account yet.
You're going to lose then. All right. Don't be afraid of the tax, man. Just take your money. Cody, what is your love outside the Carolina Panthers?
So yeah, you already might know the Clemson Tigers. That's my college team. I go hard for my Tigers. But if you've been listening to the podcast or if you follow me on Twitter, I am a diehard MMA fan. I've been a huge MMA fan since I was 15 years old. I've met Dana White. I've met Joe Rogan before. I've just how I break down football film for you guys. Like I could do that with MMA too. Striking angles, different styles, takedowns. Like I love it. I'm into it.
Is it fighting in general or just MMA?
Fighting in general. Like I grew up loving like anime, Dragon Ball Z, like all these different action types, Marvel comics. Like
I thought my man was going to say boxing. I grew up loving boxing.
But you know what?
Best sport.
I swear, I remember I was watching Mike Tyson with my dad when I was like 5 and 6 years old. So I have been watching fight sports forever.
I only asked because my a high school friend of mine, she's in bare knuckle boxing. And
taking it back to 1905.
She just fought. Hold on, let me tell you.
Bare knuckle boxing?
No. He's talking. There's an organization now.
It's called Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. Yeah,
and there's actually an argument that it's safer.
Yeah. So she fought, and she just fought and beat. What's this person's name?
Tony.
Oh my gosh! No, what's her name here?
But yeah, Tony, they're saying like if you wear gloves and you have hand wraps, your hands are secured, and it allows you
to just keep wailing.
It allows you to punch even harder. Whereas
there's an argument for this. I saw a guy make it. There's this like they're not Anasazi Mexican, but there's this group of people that live in Mexico, like they're like they're indigenous people, and they like run till like they're 90. Like they run to like the next town, and it's like. And I watched this guy, and this guy who I saw him like on Oprah or something a long time ago. But his point was is that they run barefoot, and his argument is that running barefoot was healthier than running with shoes on because you can just put your head down and plow through injury and pain and this and that. While if you run barefoot, like you're worried about where you're stepping and it's just more intentional. I assume that's the parallel you're making with bare knuckle boxing.
Well, but aren't your shoes, like I heard someone say that like the natural arches of your feet, like your feet are built that way for a reason. And when you're wearing this big,
I got bad feet, bro.
and when you have this big padded shoe, it's like your foot isn't interacting with the ground.
Yeah, you heel
like
pound. You're
yeah,
heel pounding, but you're like,
yeah. That's what they're saying. Like your foot
instead of on the balls of your feet.
Right, your foot doesn't interact with the ground like it should. But so yeah, man.
It was Paige Van Zant. Paige Van Zant.
Wait, you know her?
No, my friend beat her in bare knuckle fighting.
Oh, okay.
And then,
so
she signed a contract.
I heard about that. I heard about that.
Eat that ass, yeah.
Paige Van Zant used to fight in the UFC.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, and then she's not very good. to be very, very frank with you.
Well, she could beat my ass, I'm sure.
She needs to be a model or something. She's fighting is not her thing. But Tony, what's your
mine is all right. So I got a lot. First, I saw my mom in the chat room. So first, I love my family. Number one, I'm an Italian kid, so I love my mom's is number one. She's the most important person to me. Don't tell my wife that.
All right.
No,
don't worry. We're not gonna say anything to her.
Yeah. No.
We won't message her.
I wear a lot of hats of interest. Right. So number one, I'm a historian by trade. So I like to read and write. My first thing I love to do. Right. And so I'll read about anything from, I'm a nonfiction guy, number one, too. But I'm reading right now. I'm like working on Gulliver's Travels, stuff like that. So I love to read, love to write. My number two is in the kitchen, man. I love to cook. And I cook a lot. Like I cook every day. Multiple meals, and even over the pandemic, my new thing has been getting into baking bread, should I say? And then last, I'm into woodwork, like working in the garage, like woodworking and building things. So I just I feel like I have a creative gene in me. Like, and that is, I don't know. It's just I want to create. Like, is it this podcast? Is it a video? Is it a skit? Is it an essay? I don't know. I just love to create. So that's my thing. All right. So outside of the Panthers and football, and I like this. I go on the radio on Fridays on Pirate Radio. Love being with my family. And the off season is sort of a respite to me when it comes to football. Like, I know I don't I want the Panthers to win every game, but it's nice on Sundays to not have to do the post game. Isn't like a low pressure. These things are low pressure in the off season. And strangely, we end up talking even longer than in the regular season. The number's 252-228-5098. Chuck, part 2.
Hey guys, this is Chuck from Elizabeth City calling. Just kind of make a comment. I'm sure you get plenty of calls about this today. With Kawaan Short being cut, I mean, we knew it was going to take place. Big cap savings. I guess Weatherly will probably be next. I'm sure there'll be some others. It's about time. I mean, he was serviceable when he was here. But last year, that defensive line played pretty well without him when he was out and the money we had to spend. I really feel that when we do, letting him go, we definitely need to take one guy on the defensive line every draft. One defensive line, whether it be an edge rusher or defensive tackle. We got to at least get a mid-round draft pick if we can to solidify losing someone. The second thing I want to look at here, these reports, and I'm sure it's speculation and it's just clickbait, but, there's this report out here that we're going to trade for Deshaun. And we're going to give up 3 first-rounders, Bridgewater and McCaffrey. Now, I'm a no-go on that with McCaffrey. I know some of y'all are willing to do it.
David Newton news.
I would take the deal if it was 3 first-rounders and Bridgewater. We know we give up the 8th pick this year if we get Watson. That's a no-brainer. We come out ahead in that deal. 2 years after that, giving up a first-rounder, if we're as good as we should be, and if Watson makes that much of a difference, they're late first-round picks if we make the playoffs. So you're talking about high second-round picks, basically. It's definitely worth it. We definitely got to drop Bridgewater with the salary. I don't even know I used to would want him, but maybe it would help. McCaffrey is a deal breaker to me. I know his salary would hurt to carry on and Watson, but I just think that the duo with them in the backfield for Carolina would be incredible with our offense. That's another deal with me if we get rid of McCaffrey. Now, one thing we ought to look at too, we definitely know that if we end up drafting a quarterback, I don't know how we're going to be able to keep Bridgewater because I just don't see him being the kind of guy that's going to willingly sit back and train someone to take his place, or if he starts struggling with getting the rookie in, it's just not going to end well. We've got to get him out of Carolina, even if we take the loss and just cut him. It sucks.
Chuck is on board.
We're not always on top of things. It was one mistake I've seen this organization make.
The
I don't have a
one. Come
problem.
on, Chuck.
The one. I
You
love
out
that.
there.
Love that
Thank
optimism
you.
there.
Thanks, Chuck. My man, Chuck in Elizabeth City, big part of the show. He said in his last call, recent addition in this past year, we're in season 9, and I expect Chuck to be a fixture of this show moving forward for the next 90 years, where we make zero mistakes on the show and as part of the organization. Interesting thought about this is, would Teddy Bridgewater be toxic? Toxic Teddy Bridgewater. You bring in Trey Lance, you bring in this. I feel like we would just be like, if he won't in line, if he ain't towing the what is it? Towing the business. What do they call it when you like you got to make
party line?
Yeah, is that like, you out of here? Like, you either got, like, you're gonna be a healthy scratch every week, or you get it together, bro.
Yeah, and also, what would make him feel entitled, especially playing quarterback in the NFL? What would make him feel so entitled to the
Chat
job?
room, beat me to the punch, chat room.
Like, did he? I mean, it's in. Oh, dude. Oh man, you and his so predictable, Tony Dunn. But listen, dude, he pisses me off, man. Like, it went to a point where it was like, it sucked because I didn't think Teddy Bridgewater was going to be good, and I wanted him to be good because he was on the team, but also he was a success story. But like, I just wasn't gonna let my
because
mind
everybody started to love him when it was clear that not we, because first I think we have been very consistent from the beginning. I'm like ready to go back and the tape, like bring me back to the tape where you saw that I was excited about Teddy Bridgewater.
Never. No.
I think it was the small vocal group of Teddy Bridgewater like advocates that really pushed us away.
Yeah,
like it wasn't even his play. It was like, you know what? We don't hate Teddy Bridgewater. We don't even hate Marty Herney. We hate these 4 assholes.
Yeah,
on the
we hate
internet
y'all.
that love him.
Yeah, we hate y'all trying to pretend like he's some God's gift of quarterback. Yeah, and dude, that's like blind fandom, man. Cheering for a guy and hoping that he's going to be something that he isn't. That was a pipe dream, man. But I said before, I said tonight, I would prefer to have Deshaun and Christian be on our team, both of them. I just wish that it wasn't for the dollar amount that we're paying Christian. By the way, I can't wait till we get to my ice up pit tonight because I
What if
really
we don't have either on the team? That would be funny. All right, next call.
Hey guys, it's Dolphin here. I called in. I sort of watched the show beginning of the season. Love the podcast. David,
Nice.
The name's Dolphin.
Thanks, man.
Just want to get your guys' thoughts on a few things. One, we obviously know that KK got cut today. Panther legend, second round pick in 2013. He had some good years there. I mean, we loved him. Injuries last 2 seasons really, hurt him. Obviously, it's really the reason I think he's gone. I mean, his production even for 2017, his last full healthy season, was a really good one. He was definitely a diamond in the rough for us. One of the best defensive tackles we've had here. I think he's had over 32 sacks from inside. That was very. I mean, him and Starr, that 2013 class, they were dirty, and we're missing. I'm sure. I mean, we're missing Starr in a way. He got some good money, and he might go to Buffalo. he might go to Buffalo, join Star up there. I mean, Star did so much for us in terms of run defense, one of the better run stoppers in the league. But what do you? This is kind of a Cody question, and anybody really. But I know Cody's been very big on the Deshaun Watson front. What is the line for us trading for Deshaun, in your opinion, Cody? Because I mean, we have a lot of young guys on this team. Sorry if you guys hear the car. I'm on the way to my mom's right now. But what is the line? Brian Burns is the guy I'm not really wanting to give up. Derek Brown's the guy I really don't want to give up. And definitely not Chin. I mean, those are. I saw a trade scenario today just scrolling through on Twitter, and I think it was Chad Forbes who was talking about it, how the Panthers wouldn't be dumb to give up, Derek Chin, and Brian, and 2 firsts on top of it for Deshaun. Like
that's the whole fucking team, bro. That's too much.
Top 3, arguably. I mean,
when they say 2 defensive players, they don't mean the best ones.
Josh Allen are both up there, but Aaron Rodgers, obviously. But yeah, Cody, what do you think about that? And if it does come down to, I don't want to trade up for the third pick in the draft. It would suck so much just because we won that game against Washington. We'd have to give up another first round pick to move up, most likely, or later assets, which would be frustrating for me. I think we can get a guy like Trey Lance at 8, and if we're not going to get quarterback, as much as I don't like Teddy, I'd rather us not do something dumb like trying to give up our 8th pick for Stafford and just deal with another year of Teddy, get out of his deal next year cheap, and try and bring in Patrick Surtain or something like that this year. As much as I think it'd be hard for them to build excitement, but for this next season, because Panthers fans are fed up with Teddy.
All right, I think this, and I know that question is directed for you, but I kind of am in the camp right now of let a quarterback fall to us at 8. I feel like I'm like, come on, Trey Lance. Come on, Justin Fields. Somebody's falling to us at 8, and we don't got
a lot of mock drafts have that happening, and I know you mentioned that to me on Twitter too. And I've seen it. I've seen a lot of them with Trey Lance falling to us.
Falcons can't pick a quarterback. They can't. They can't trade Ryan.
We don't know that. I think right now things are actually starting to look good. I agree with you in saying that it does look more favorable that we might be able to just stay there. But the fact that it's not guaranteed, you don't want to have your dick in your hand at the last minute, thinking that one's going to fall to you and then the top 4 are gone, But to answer his question specifically, though, where is my line? Basically, all 3 of the players that you mentioned, Brian Burns, Derek Brown, Jeremy Chin, because it's at the point where it's like, yeah, I would love to have Deshaun on this football team, but I don't want to put Deshaun Watson in a same or similar situation to Cam Newton, where Cam Newton
or that Deshaun Watson was already
in, where he's having to elevate the talent, run for his life. I would also throw Taylor Moton in that list too, because I think no matter who our quarterback is, it's so important to have a dominant left and right tackle, and those are hard to come by. So no matter who the quarterback is, that guy is valuable. It's a quarterback sport, but dude, it takes 11 guys at a time working in unison, and we can't just mortgage our entire defense to bring in Deshaun Watson. That's why I'm okay with doing it for maybe a player, maybe one player and a few picks, later on down the road. But yeah, I definitely draw the line at Brian Burns. How about this? Out of all those names, to me, Brian Burns is the most important of those 3.
For me, it's Burns and Chin. I need both of those guys on my team going forward. Moton, we need him, but you got to sign him. So if you don't sign him, who gives a shit? Here's the draft order: Jacksonville, New York Jets, Miami Dolphins, Atlanta Falcons, Cincinnati Bengals, Philadelphia Eagles, Detroit Lions, Carolina Panthers at 8. The team that really scares me here and screwing up our efforts is the Philadelphia Eagles. And those assholes who have Carson Wentz on a giant deal, who just got Jalen Hurts. I would hate to have to trade from 8 to 5 just to leapfrog the damn Eagles. That would drive me nuts. But it might need to happen if Cody is right. I'm hoping that Trey Lance falls to us at 8. Justin Fields falls to us at 8. And if you know what? If none of those do and we sit pat, then stand pat, then we need to get that Penei Sewell dude and think about next year. Let's go to the next call.
My podcast brothers, how y'all
doing?
Yeah. If you guys haven't talked about it already, I want to break it down to people who are now just tuning in. Breaking news. I just saw on Twitter that the Panthers are willing to give up Christian McCaffrey to sign Deshaun Watson. What in the living hell, man? That shit does not look good. I would not do that. Even though, in all reality, let's be honest, gentlemen, there hasn't been a player, especially a running back, to get paid $100 million to win the Super Bowl or even get there. Let's be honest. But there's no way in hell I would do this. I wouldn't. No way in hell. I want Deshaun Watson, you know what I'm saying? But there's no way in hell I'll give up CMC. I mean, we lost Cam. We lost Greg Olsen. You know, Luke Kuechly went out, you know, due to injury or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Come on now, man, y'all. CMC is once in a lifetime running back. Bro. Oh my God, man. When I was a kid, there was a gentleman by the name of Roger Craig that used to play for the 49ers who could catch the ball and run. Then there was Marshall Faulk. And now you got people like Christian McCaffrey. There's no way in hell I would do this shit, man.
And
even though
let's
they got
not
balls,
sleep on Christian, man.
Shit
Just
off
because
if they did that shit. But come on now, y'all. Give me your thoughts on that. Keep pounding.
I think the first thing about your call that I like is this: let's not sleep. NFL fans and NFL GMs and NFL teams have recency bias. You want to know about this? Look at fantasy football rankings next year. It's just going to be the dudes that had the most stats this past year, and there'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then all of a sudden, you're going to be like, oh, shit, Christian McCaffrey, they hid him. They protected him from injury, and he's going to have like a bazillion yards, right? And he'll be the number 1 running back before you know it. I think the other thing is that let's talk about Deshaun and Christian on the same team. That's what I want to hear. I want to hear that conversation. But my last point about this, I'm turning the mic to Cody. There is a guy by the name of, I told you guys about him last week, and John McClain, Houston Chronicle. Yeah, this guy is a treasure trove of discussion. Wonderful. I could listen to it for days. But he said that they were talking about the Warren Moon and how the Houston Oilers had to get rid of him because of the salary cap. They had just created the salary cap. Nobody knew how it was going to work. But the thought is, man, we have Warren Moon. We're just going to find our next Warren Moon and we'll be back, you know. And 40 years later, they find Deshaun Watson. You know, it took 40 years ultimately, or whatever it was, 30 years for them trying to find their Warren Moon. So
finding a bit misleading because they thought that they found their Warren Moon. I mean, I'm not obviously to the same extent, but with Matt Schaub. Do you remember how much he paid? He got paid.
Carr. I thought you were gonna say Carr.
Carr too. Don't get me wrong, but like
Carr was the first. He was
Schaub.
number 1.
I mean, you gotta remember, Schaub he fell off a cliff.
But they thought they found him, but they didn't find him.
Correct.
They didn't find him. Deshaun Watson is. They found him.
Yeah,
and it's kind of like, you know, I don't know. You just want to punt when you got, you know, what is it? A bird in a hand, worth 2 in the bush. Yeah. Cody, you got anything to say about that? Because I know you're going to say this. Is Deshaun Watson's better than CMC?
Well, he is, man. It's position value. It's like, shout out G, but Like you're looking at it from a fan. You from a fan's perspective, but that's what this podcast is. No shame in that. But like, it's after losing so many players, we can't lose Christian. But the idea of it is that Deshaun would do more for us than Christian does, because the quarterback position is far more important than the running back position. And the evidence has been the last 2 years of Panthers football. Even when we had a good running game, even when Christian was on doing his thing, we didn't have a quarterback, so it didn't amount for much when we wanted to pass the football.
What if he could pair the two and marry them? Like
that would be listen, that's the dream. Like that is the dream. That's why, again, I'm conflicted because of the whole contract thing. But yeah, I'm not stupid, dude. Deshaun Watson and Christian McCaffrey in the same backfield. And dude, if somehow we were able to keep Curtis and DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson, like, dude, if we can get some offensive line picks, like, all of a sudden this offense is humming in a way that it hasn't been able to do before. So
all right, next call.
What's going on, C3 Nation? It's your boy Jay Anderson hitting y'all up.
Well, Jay.
Yeah, the Panthers getting rid of KK Short. I'm cool with that. I think KK being wanted to leave. I think KK wanted to leave since last year. I don't think KK was hurt. I don't think KK was really hurt. I think KK just
he's not hurt. He's just getting fake surgery.
Let me try to find a way to get the hell out of here. I don't think he wanted to be on the team, and who can blame him? The way, he was on the contending team. He came in on the contending team. NFC South contending team. And he just, hey man, like, it's all good. Shout out to KK for the couple of years that he had a good run with us. He probably do like Kevin Nash and say, "Hey, I'm healthy with another team," and just fall out in some way. So, shout out to him. I ain't mad at it or nothing like that. Another thing. I believe that the Panthers been showing their cards too much by wanting the quarterback, because he had to, and I know it's Todd and shit. I know it's, all these reporters coming from what they'll call it how they see it, call it desperation. To me, I think that the Panthers show too much of a card that they want a quarterback, and that may have somebody below us to jump in front of us, because even though 8 is a nice spot, being in the top 10 is not a great spot. It's not a good for like a top 5 spot and stuff like that. So you kind of that's why a lot of people are upset about that Washington W. So because we could have probably been in the top. We would have been in number 3.
We would have been 3.
Number 3 spot, and have a short thing like, nah, y'all either have to trade, give us something special, or y'all gonna have to jump over to number 2, which is going to be, jump to number 2, which is going to be tough for any team to get that number 2 spot. They got to trade the house. So hopefully, we end up getting a quarterback. Hopefully, Fields or Lance falls, and we get one of them. All right, y'all holla at y'all.
All right, good call, man. Good call. Let's keep pounding through.
Yo, Tony, man. Tony, you know that fucking, for one, Newton got a problem with CMC, so he just initiating that beef. I don't know if you already seen the little thing when he's
that's
talking
right.
about
That's
CMC
right.
saying he said she say shit, and then
I'm pausing this. We're coming back to this conversation. We're coming back. Don't worry, the call's not over. But he's right.
Yeah,
the beef was last week between CMC and Newton, and now Newton's dropping the ball protection.
Keep back on the tweets like, hold on, man, don't ever put my motherfucking words in your mouth that way I didn't say them. You know what I'm saying? And,
he's like, well, don't put you in my trade
on
agreement.
The Teddy bullshit, Teddy's a part of the trade. So I think we gotta eat up this
Call it a night right here.
year right here. You know what I'm saying? But also Houston eats up. If you look it up, Houston eats up most of this shit on this year. I think we only got to pay like 17 or even less. I think like 12. M's this year, and then we don't have to pay Teddy. You know what I'm saying? Year after, but on the year after, we're gonna have to pay Watson's real contract was like 37 M's. So that's what's gonna be pretty detrimental. But we should have that shit saved up because we shouldn't have to be dealing with no motherfucking no capital fiascos, and we got the boy fitting motherfuckers in the right position. So you know what I mean? Just stay up with your boys, stay positive. Shout out fucking CK, shout out Cody. You know what I mean? I just always open up the fucking Panthers app and just envision motherfucking Watson finally being up on here. And this is just one step closer to seeing my vision come true. And I've been said this, I would and will and is going to happen, give 3 picks for CMC, with 3 picks with CMC and Teddy B. Send them motherfuckers on a ship, send back your boy fucking Watson, and let the games begin. Shout out your boy QT0 out here in Cali, man. Probably gonna call in again, talk some more shit. You know what I'm saying? If I hear y'all saying something wrong, I'm gonna cap on you about it. So,
thanks, QT. QT with a good call tonight, man. First of all, he brings a lot of good calls, but a good call tonight. I call it Watson Vision. Y'all be watching on Disney Plus. My mom is in the chat room. She said, "Put some soap in his mouth." She called it, but she said soap award, but that means wash your mouth out with soap. But we were listening. We've been watching that, or some people are watching it. I have not been blown away yet. Watched 3 episodes of it. WandaVision. It's a slow burn to start. I'm gonna let slow burns burn slowly, but I'm calling it Watson Vision. Watson Vision. He's got it. Watson Vision. All right, next call.
Hey, what's up? This is Kevin. Yo, I am all down. I'm 100% in on Trey Lance. I think we should get a quarterback in the draft, but I'm fine even if we don't. I don't think we should ruin our future though with draft picks trying to go out and get a quarterback like Deshaun, as much as I would love to see it. Even if we did, I'd still be happy, but I think we should go Trey Lance or no quarterback at all and just really start to build in the trenches on both sides.
All right. You know what is that? Look, that's the kind of safe play. And it's not even a safe play. It's just a logical play, right? Is that if the opportunity is not there, if you pick a tight end, my mother will have to wash my mouth out with soap. That's what I'm saying. Is that the only way I will be upset is that if we get to 8 and we pass, say all the QBs are gone and then someone traded up and they gave up all this mess and we didn't want to do it for Trey Lance or whatever. And we picked that left tackle. I'll be on this podcast going, you know what? We're going to build the trenches. We're going to come back next year. We're going to be still searching for our guy and this and that. Right. But if we pick a damn tight end or a middle linebacker, I'm going to lose my mind. I would even be okay at 8 taking a straight up lockdown, shut down corner that falls because all these quarterbacks are being drafted. I would be fine with trading back. But this is what I would not be fine with right now. What Panthers Buzz FSU 23 says, Dak and Marcus def upgrade over Teddy. Yes, they are. But are they an upgrade for the future? We don't know what Dak is going to bring with the injury. Marcus Mariota sounds cool on the face of it. Actually, it doesn't because I didn't ever think he was that good anyway. But it sounds kind of cool. You're like, oh, we'll get this retread first rounder and we'll do that. No, he's supposed to be paid $20 million next year if he pays 60% of the snaps. Like he gets paid if he starts, if he's a starter. he gets paid like legit money in his second year. That's part of his contract. So, like, I just don't even want to do that. I'd rather start over. And I would be more open to Sam Darnold. Like,
I don't know. It's all.
I don't think it's a great thing, but I'm just saying this is like, if we're going to get a $2 million guy, you know, like, I would be like, all right, I'd rather kick the tires on him than Marcus Mariota.
Yeah.
How about that? Well, I mean, I know it's not ideal, but all right. So you have two decisions. You don't have any other decision, Cody. You kick the tires on Mariota, or you kick the tires on Sam Darnold. Which one would you do?
Darnold, just because he's younger, and you can say that he went to a bad situation.
Yes. And you come on this podcast all the time and tell us how situations matter.
Yeah, but I mean, there's also no
Yes,
guarantee
you do.
that
You
that
do.
is going to work out.
No, but there's no guarantee that Mariota would either. There's less of like it's almost like saying this is that just getting away from Adam Gase is a good thing.
Yeah, I know that's
Tannehill, like this and that. All right. Here, next call.
Hey, yo, what's up?
Yo, what's the deal?
I'm just wondering, would y'all trade McCaffrey for Watson? And so,
yes, done.
Straight up, absolutely.
We're signing.
Stupid as hell.
I don't know what that meant, but yes, sign it. Sign it. All right. Those are all the calls. It's the C3 Panthers podcast. The number's 252-228-5098. We're here next Tuesday. We still got a little bit to talk about. We got our ice up picks. We got some different things. Last thing is Orlando. Tell us about the cat. And someone brought this up on the show, and I'm upset I didn't. It was so late last week. And again, we're getting here late. The guy from the Ravens, the tackle. Tell
Orlando
me.
Brown.
Right. So what are the situations that the Panthers could trade for him? Why should they? And ultimately, I think that what is it going to take?
Well, so the story is their left tackle is Ronnie Stanley. And Orlando Brown has been playing right tackle for them. And he wants to go back to his original position that he played in college. He wants to play left tackle. So he wants to make a trade. My problem is like, dude, this quarterback thing is an issue for us. Because why are we going to trade picks or whatever to get a left tackle when that's all capital that we're probably going to need to get a quarterback, be it through free agency or in the draft? So it's like, again, it's such inopportune timing to need a quarterback. That's why we need to move heaven and earth to get our quarterback, so that way this doesn't remain a problem. And when situations happen like this, we can capitalize on them. But I would not mind Orlando Brown as a left tackle.
What would you do? What would you do if this is Trey Lance falls to us at 8? We pick Trey Lance. Would you then be ready? Would it be opportune at that point to trade next year's first for Brown? Or do you try to build a line more organically without doing that trading? Because here's the thing is I don't even want to trade this year. Like the only thing, maybe I would trade this year's first straight up for him, and that's still a lot. I feel like that's still kind of a lot. Yeah. Like, would you just straight would you straight up trade our 8th pick for him right now?
No.
The quarterbacks are off the board, right? How about that? We have talked about Deshaun Watson being a proven commodity, right? And how there's value at that. Say all the quarterbacks are off the board. You have a couple options. You got the Penei Sewell. You got the trade back option, or you could just straight up trade the 8th for the Brown kid. Which of those 3 do you do? Or specifically about Brown, what do you do?
I mean, and then there's Rashawn Slater, who y'all don't know about yet, who I think is making his case to be the number 1 tackle in this class.
Ooh.
Yeah, Daniel Jeremiah is kind of on it first, putting it out there, and he's good. His film when he went up against Chase Young the year before at Ohio State, he shut him down completely, which is crazy. But no, I'm not into trading. Let's just get younger. I mean, instead of getting a guy that we're going to have to pay soon, get younger, get cheaper. I think that needs to be the idea. We've had 2 general managers that have ruined this roster and ruined our salary cap, and we need to start making the steps in the right direction to fix it. And again, if we already had an established quarterback, then maybe. But right now, no. I say you go with the young guy, get him on a rookie contract, have a 5th-year option, and take the best player available.
I like that. I'm with you on that. All right. Any other things you guys got to get off your chest before we ice some fools up?
No, not really about the Panthers. No, I'm ready to hit this ice up. I think I got it.
All right. So it's time for the ice up segment. It is the longest running segment on the C3 Panthers podcast, and actually it's probably the only segment at this point. Oh, cat calls now. We have like 2 segments. We used to try to do things like breaking down the box. Should probably get back to that. It's our time to tell someone to ice up, toughen up, to get it together. It's our homage to Steve Smith. Everyone is fair game, except for my mama, who was in the chat room. I would say Mama Dunn, what we call Noni, up in the house. Don't be messing with her. But other than that, who wants to go first?
I'll do it, man. Mine's fresh off my head, unless one of you
go. I got a good one too.
First. Yeah, man. Listen, so after Tom Brady won the Super Bowl, there's been a lot of good questioning about GOATs, greatest all-time players, and who would be on the Mount Rushmore of greatest all-time players. And this conversation is being had where a person is being mentioned as the greatest all-time athlete, and they just don't deserve to be. And I'm talking about Serena Williams. And listen, dude, I am not trying to shit on Serena Williams. I think she's an incredible athlete. I think that she's easily the most dominant female athlete across all sports that there has ever been. I mean, maybe Miriam Jones in racing, but there have been a few. Maybe Layla Ali in boxing. But
who's the girl that does the gymnastics? A lot of people like to say
Simone Biles.
Biles. Yeah. Okay, man. You know, there's definitely a conversation to be had. But the minute you start saying that she is on par with or above the level of Michael Jordan, Tom Brady, LeBron James, Floyd Mayweather, like, dude, get out of here with that shit. And it's not rooted in sexism either. The amount of the ease of access that women have to get into tennis, like, you have to kind of come from money to play tennis growing up, right? Like, poor kids don't play tennis, okay? So there's a financial barrier that is in the sport, right? And then you look at the level of competition. Michael Jordan, Tom Brady, Floyd Mayweather, if you look at the guys that they have had to go up against, it is a literal who's who of the best athletes in their respective sports of all time. Of all time. I'm sorry, but female tennis and the level of competition does not stack up to where she is to be considered one of the greatest all-time athletes. I'm sorry, she doesn't even compare to like Pete Sampras and Nadal and Federer and all those guys. I'm sorry, it's just
I disagree with this take so much.
Dude, I don't care, man. Like, these people are whenever you face the best competition in the world
for like 20 years, bro.
Yeah, and the best female player of all time. I'm sorry, but you have to draw the difference in comparison between male and female, because I don't think it compares, man. It really doesn't to me. I'm not saying she hasn't
that's your
been
ice up
dominant.
pick.
So I'm icing
Yeah,
up
it's ice
everyone
cold.
because it's insulting to all the real goats and the people who have earned it.
Damn, all the real ghosts. This bitch is like the best at
Yeah,
her
but
sport ever.
yeah,
Ever.
but don't put her ahead of LeBron. Don't put her ahead of Floyd. Don't put her ahead
I
of
will put her. I agree. All right, it's your
who would
ice
you-
up pick. It's your ice up pick. The only
Last
don't.
question. A genuine question. Who would you out of those four names I mentioned? Tom Brady, Floyd Mayweather, LeBron, and MJ. Who would you put Serena above?
LeBron.
You would Serena
She
is
don't lose.
better
LeBron is
all-time
lost.
athlete
Look,
than
I would. Yeah, I
LeBron?
would. Well, it's like
Bro.
no. Don't call me. It's look. If you want to say athletes, that's one thing because then, like, we could be talking. Simone Biles should probably be the most athletic person. You're talking about like the tip top of their sport. Right. And I think this is that look, as MJ didn't really lose. Maybe I'm sugarcoating the past. I don't remember a lot. Floyd Mayweather never lost, bro. Never.
Floyd is one of the
LeBron, I would
undisputed
say,
ones.
has lost some shit. Is like she has been dominant. I think she only lost like her first match and she was like having a baby.
Yeah, but LeBron
You
was
know,
also
I mean, I'm
going
just
up.
like
Yeah,
she has been the most dominant. She is, and this
Against
is
who?
maybe where we should not go crazy about. Sometimes it's okay to say this is the best apple pie and this is the best cherry pie.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of that. I just don't.
You know, is that like
I'm gonna say
because
this.
if I said Floyd Mayweather is the best fighter I've ever seen, which I actually do believe.
Yeah.
Right, is the mugs are gonna come chirping in. Cody's gonna be coming in and saying MMA. These mugs, he could
He's the
jujitsu
best
this
boxer
motherfucker. This
of all time.
like you could see, but this guy, I was watching this. I love Floyd. I was watching this one video on him. If you just want to go watch cool shit, just go watch boxing on YouTube. It's awesome. But this trainer was talking with Floyd, and he said, "Damn, you could fight in a phone booth, couldn't you?" Like it's like this. It's like this motherfucker ain't getting hit nowhere, bro.
Yeah,
but
like,
no, I think Serena. So I disagree with you.
LeBron James.
It's your ice up pick. It's your ice up pick.
He went up against the Golden State Warriors, man. That's who he was losing to.
He lost to the Mavericks, I think, or he's lost like 3 championships, right? He ain't lost like just one. All right, it's your ice up pick.
Right.
Ice up people that love the best thighs.
People that overrate Serena.
Out of all the people that I thought, you were the last person in the world that I would have thought that would have taken that beautiful chocolate woman and been.
I love Serena. I can hold 2 opposing ideas in my head at the same time. I love Christian McCaffrey, the player, but the man is overpaid. I think Serena is beautiful and dominant, but she doesn't compare to all the real goats, dude. I rest my case.
I disagree. All right, I disagree. CK, what you got?
I'm like to ice up Cody last. I'm just kidding.
Do it. I don't even care.
No, I'm just kidding. I didn't have an ice up tonight.
Maybe I deserve it.
I couldn't think of an ice up that I haven't already touched on with regard to David Newton.
All right.
David Newton's already been. I iced him up last week.
I know, and he's back in the news.
Yeah.
It's like a perpetual ice up pick for David Newton.
Yeah, we'll just say David Newton.
We keep him on ice like that old casserole that we don't want to eat in the freezer.
Should we all should we just get together and not create a petition, but just create a group of people that are willing to write a letter to the manager and then just
they're already there. They're already there, bro. You don't even have to create the group. It already exists.
We'll just sign it collectively.
It's not gonna work. That's good. Collectively, it will make him. It will entrench him more.
Yeah.
The only way to get rid of David Newton is to not care
stop reading
about it.
Shit.
It's like when he misspells something, be like nothing. That's the only way to get rid of him. He has generated more interest by being him than buy anything. All right, my ice up pick is this: is I broke my thumb over the holiday. Look, I got it split off. I had this surgery, so I go to the doctor for the last time. And you go in there and you got to go see the last time. I saw the surgeon. Excuse me, I should call him a surgeon. The surgeon for the third. I saw him 3 times. I saw him the middle, like after they check it after 2 weeks, and then they check it at the end. In between, you hang out with the physical therapy people. So, part of the COVID requirements when you roll up into a doctor's office is they take your temperature. And I always I wear a hat a lot like this. So you go get your temperature taken, you gotta lean in, they got the little thing, so you take your hat off like this to give them like the full forehead, not a 3 head. You need a forehead. So I take my hat off like this, and this girl, the girl that was working the desk was probably like 20, 22 years old. And let me just say this, not an intimidating 22 years old. Is that like, you're not like the 39-year-old guy who's like, oh my God, this is the most gorgeous 22-year-old,
like basically you were looking into a mirror.
Okay. Ouch. So I take my hat off like this to give her the forehead access. And she goes, whoa, you got some gray hair. And I was like, well, duh. And look, I'm used to this. I had my first gray hair when I was in 8th grade. I've been salt and pepper for a while, no big deal. So every time someone says to me like, oh, you got a lot of gray for your age, I always say, oh, well, I had my first gray hair when I was in 8th grade. It's just kind of like the conversation you go down. And so she says this, and I say that, and it's kind of joking at first. And the girl beside her is like this. She's like, oh, God, this girl said he got gray hair. So she's listening. And so I said, well, at least I got this beautiful head of hair. That's what I said. And then I put my hat back on. And this 20-year-old goes, No, she didn't say, She said, man, my dad is not much older than you, and he ain't got no hair.
I thought you were about to say she was slitching her number or something.
And I was like, yeah. I was like, bitch, I am 39 years old. I understand I got some gray hairs. I got this beautiful, fantastic lettuce, too. B. But C, I ain't got nothing in common with your bald ass dad. At
that point, she's trying to be disrespectful at that point.
Yes, like you doubled. Yes.
Yeah, she was trying to shade you.
Get the fuck out of here. You want nothing. Anyway, this thumb is garbage now.
No.
Nah, but I played some video games for the first time. It's awesome.
Can you grip some shit?
Yeah, I can. It's all right. It's just like not the total bendy. You know what I'm saying? Look, that's the difference. So it's gonna get there. All right. That's the C3 Panthers podcast. Numbers 252-228-5098. My name's Tony Dunn. They call me the Professor. You can follow me on Twitter at @cat_chronicles. That's right. At symbol. Cat, CAT_chronicles. We want you to be a part of the C3 Panthers podcast. Look, it don't cost nothing. Sub up, share up, write a review. Hell, give me a thumbs down. Tell me that I look like your dad for all I give a shit. But just help us spread the word that the longest running Panthers podcast in their 9th season, trying to build this community, hanging out with Cody Lashney. Where can they find you?
Yeah, man, find me on Twitter at Cody Lack, CODYLAC. I think I'm going to keep that trend, man. I might do a poll every week and just give us something to participate with and talk about and get some fan interaction. So check out my Twitter. And then every other week is a brand new mock draft on drafttech.com with all first-round comments written by yours truly. Y'all, I put David Newton to shame, okay? I'm actually writing good shit. I put David Newton to shame, reading my shit. I'm really doing good work over there, trying my best to write some solid stuff for Panther Nation. That's it. Check me out.
All right, CK, how can they get after you?
You can get after me at facebook.gg or fb.gg or Facebook Gaming, wherever you would like to watch streams, essentially. And I'm Codizzle_Allen. You can find me on most social media platforms that way as well. But yeah, I stream most nights, have some fun, playing some Call of Duty, getting a little tired of Call of Duty, ready for something to either change with it, or I've been playing this Escape from Tarkov. So if you guys are interested in watching that shit, watch me.
You don't play Apex?
I played a little bit of Apex. It's not like it's not my go-to game or anything.
Friends I know play it, love it.
Yeah, Apex is good. Like, don't get me wrong. It's just the problem is the audience. Like, it's the tough thing. It's tough to not play Call of Duty because that's what I've built my entire platform on, was the playing Call of Duty. So I'm gonna have to
flip back and forth, flip back and forth.
It's tough. That hurts you in the algorithm a lot.
That's all right. Just pick half your streams. All right. Yes, I am your daddy, folks, and this is the daddy of all podcasts. We'll see you Tuesday night. Until then, keep pounding. Hit me on Twitter, Gmail, wherever you want, and let me know. Do you want to get a Discord channel? I'm trying to make that next. All right. We'll check you out later.
Peace.
Later.
Early contests build momentum for 2024 contenders seeking the White House. C-SPAN offers unfiltered coverage of events leading into early primaries and caucuses. Get access to speeches and results with the free app, C-SPAN Now, or watch live on the C-SPAN networks.
Be a barbecue hero with delicious, ultra-low net-carb Hero Bread, buns, and tortillas. Soft and fluffy, high in fiber, and with 0 grams of sugar, up to 10 grams of protein, coming in at under 100 calories per serving. Oh, and did I mention they taste like their mouth-watering traditional versions? I mean, what's not to love? Use code AH10 for 10% off your first Hero Bread purchase at hero.co. That's AH10 for 10% off at hero.co.